Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales. Chapter 4364. This also meant that Kong Xinmu no longer had the tutors of Donghuang Yangwu College backing him up. No wonder this kid needed to rely on the guardian formation to defend himself instead of calling for the tutors of Donghuang Yangwu College. This kid betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College. He's a traitor of the college. Many people around Kong Xinmu looked at him with malicious intent. After the words of the Black Dragon Emperor, Kong Xinmu immediately became the target of public criticism. It was he who betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College and even went into hiding, causing the Yen Dragon Emperor to be captured. And it was Kong Xinmu who killed one of the 12 Yen Dragon envoys. This was something that Kong Xinmu had not expected. The Black Dragon Monarch first pretended that it was going to destroy the entire Fire Dragon City, and it had indeed gathered enough power. If it continued to gather more power, destroying the entire Fire Dragon City wouldn't just be a joke. This guy could really do it. This was a threat. Under the fear of Yen Dragon City being destroyed, many people did not have the time to think about it. Therefore, the Black Dragon Emperor took the opportunity to say that Kong Xinmu was a defector of Donghuang Yangwu College. This successfully transferred all the hatred to Kong Xinmu. Without a doubt, Kong Xinmu had not expected this. At this moment, whether it was the powerful dragon martial artists of the Yen Dragon Emperor's court, Elder Xue from the northern Chill Dragon country, or even the Heaven Awakening Devil Dragon, they were all sizing up Kong Xinmu with a different gaze. Brother Jiang, I'm sorry. The strongest person in the crowd was the Heaven Awakening Devil Dragon. Many people looked at him, as if hoping that he would come forward to resolve this matter. The Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon's expression was a little ugly. This time, Brother Jiang has really tricked us badly. You actually betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College. Although I don't know the reason, I have to hand you over now. To everyone present, Donghuang Yangwu College was the strongest existence in the world. They did not know that there were 4 dragon martial academies in this world. Even Donghuang Yangwu College was only known after the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty produced Kong Xinmu. Only after the rise of Kong Xinmu did they know that there was a Donghuang Yangwu College in the mainland, which was the most powerful organization in the world. Now, Kong Xinmu had betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College. Wasn't this too disappointing? Although they did not know the reason, they could not understand it no matter how hard they tried. After all, how many people dreamed of entering Donghuang Yangwu College? Kong Xinmu and Ran Ran stood together and did not speak. In fact, they were indeed traitors of Donghuang Yangwu College. The dean of Donghuang Yangwu College, Xiaofan, was indeed arresting them. However, he did not know how to tell the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon and the others what kind of persons Xiaofan, the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College, was. He could not tell them about Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy now. Otherwise, Xiaofan would be a little wary, and it would be even more impossible for him to appear in front of Kong Xinmu. Do I really have to let Dean Emperor Shi take action now? Kong Xinmu thought to himself. Because if Dean Emperor Shi did not take action, he would be captured by the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon and the others. Then, he would be sent out of the protective array of Fiery Dragon City and fall into the hands of the Dark Dragon Emperor. What should he do now? Just as the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon was about to take action and restrain Kong Xinmu, and Kong Xinmu was hesitating about whether to let Dean Emperor Shi take action. Suddenly, an incomparably tyrannical aura, accompanied by a terrifying whirlwind, appeared in the field. There were several demonic winds blowing from all directions. With lightning speed, they actually blew away the dark storm that the Dark Dragon Emperor had condensed in an instant. It turned into endless spiritual energy and exploded. The appearance of the demonic winds immediately caused the expressions of everyone in the field to change drastically. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the demonic winds immediately transformed into the figures of several giant demonic beasts. Each demonic beast was a strange existence that they had never seen before. There was a total of 5 demonic beasts, and they were all demon emperors. Although they were demon emperors whose blood essence was not too high, they were all existences at the peak of the reincarnation tribulation realm. Each demon emperor's combat power was extremely strong. One demon emperor might not be a match for the dark dragon emperor. After all, he was a mentor of the dragon emperor. However, if they were added together, the black dragon emperor would definitely not be able to withstand it. As soon as they appeared, they directly shattered the dark storm that the dark dragon emperor had condensed for a while, causing him to lose the ability to continue to threaten fiery dragon city. Then, they surrounded the dark dragon emperor. "Who are you?" The dark dragon emperor's face suddenly darkened. He had never expected that demonic beasts would appear at such a critical moment to cause trouble. One should know that the 4 dragon martial academies were completely above the demonic beast forces. Even the strongest demonic beast force in the dragon martial continent did not dare to attack the mentor of the Donghuang Yangwu College. What was going on now? "We are only here to rescue our juniors." The 5 beast emperors spoke calmly, as they had already gained the upper hand. Rescue juniors? No one knew who the juniors they were talking about were. Could it be Kong Shinmu? Kong Shinmu was the junior of the demonic beasts? The expressions of everyone present became strange. Even Kong Shinmu was confused. What was going on? Why would demonic beasts appear at this time? And there were 5 demon emperors. No one had seen these 5 demon emperors before, and they were extremely powerful. Their demonic beast bloodlines were much purer than the Heaven Awakening Dragon. If the Heaven Awakening Dragon was equivalent to the 2nd level of the Dragon Emperor's blood essence, then these 5 demon emperors were equivalent to the 4th level of the Dragon Emperor's blood essence. Fighting one-on-one, they were still not that Dragon Emperor's 5th level's pitch-black Dragon Emperor's match. However, if the 5 demon emperors joined forces, it would be extremely easy for them to suppress the Black Dragon Emperor. Then the question came, who was the junior that they wanted to rescue? Kong Shinmu had a bewildered look. Right at this time, Ran suddenly said, "It wouldn't be the Ink Nightmare Beast, right?" She could only think of the Ink Nightmare Beast. When in the Boundary Division Forest, it was the Ink Nightmare Beast's appearance that made the demonic beasts in the Boundary Division Forest attack together, attacking the dragon martial artists that came out of the Immortal Grove Dragon Empire's crossing city. To say that there were demon emperors appearing together now, saying that they wanted to rescue juniors, it was probably really that Ink Nightmare Beast. Looking at the current situation, the status of the Ink Nightmare Beast among the demonic beasts was indeed not low. But Chapter 4365. If they were so capable, it would not have been Kong Shinmu, Ran, and the Fire Phoenix Princess who had saved the Centipede Ink Beast. Instead, it would have been these demon emperors who had rescued the Centipede Ink Beast from the caravan of dragon martial artists. Kong Shinmu did not understand. He could only start to think about whether this had something to do with Headmaster Emperor Shi. Headmaster Emperor Shi saw that he could not hold them off, so he went to get 5 demon emperors to stabilize the situation and see if he could lure Xiaofan out. Moreover, Kong Shinmu did have a Centipede Ink Beast with him. The appearance of these 5 demon emperors was also reasonable. Xiaofan might not suspect that someone was behind this. No matter what, now 5 demon emperors had appeared, and they were on Kong Shinmu's side. This situation instantly turned the situation around. Each of the 5 demon emperors was much stronger than the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon. The Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon originally wanted to capture Kong Shinmu, but now he stopped and did not dare to act rashly. There was an inexplicable expression on his face. This time, he was really confused. What the hell was going on? Before figuring out the situation, the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon could not capture Kong Shinmu and send him out of the protective barrier. After all, the 5 demon emperors were demonic beasts like him. Compared to the dragon martial artist, these 5 demon sovereigns gave him a very amiable feeling. The heaven-opening rogue dragon had never seen any demon sovereigns stronger than him. The main reason was that each of these 5 demon sovereigns was much stronger than him, and they could easily crush him. Therefore, he wanted to make friends with them. Under such circumstances, it was obviously not appropriate to have a conflict with Kang Xinmu. If the heaven-awakening demon dragon did not make a move, it was even more impossible for the other dragon martial artists to make a move. Anyway, the threat of the flame dragon city had been dispersed by the 5 demon emperors. At this moment, they just needed to sit back and watch the situation develop. There were so many terrifying and powerful existences in the field. The situation was no longer something that the small dragon martial artists could control. They did not even have the right to get involved. When everyone in the Flame Dragon City began to watch the show, the pitch-black dragon emperor was almost furious. What was going on? What kind of demon emperor would dare to interfere? They were looking down on Donghuang Yangwu College. Aren't you worried that our Donghuang Dinswo will blame you? The Black Dragon Emperor snorted coldly and threatened the 5 powerful demon emperors surrounding him. He was not worried that the 5 demon emperors would attack him. After all, even if they did attack him, he would not lose his life. He had many ways to escape. But now, it was a big problem that he couldn't catch Kang Xinmu. The 5 demon emperors said that they wanted to save their juniors. The question was, who were their juniors? Unfortunately, the 5 demon emperors did not bother to talk to him at all. The pitch-black dragon emperor did not even know where the 5 demon emperors came from. He was immediately surrounded by them. The 5 demon emperors' powerful demonic powers swept across the sky and swept towards the pitch-black dragon emperor. Instructor Black Dragon Emperor immediately displayed his defensive dragon martial technique in an attempt to resist the joint attack of the other party. However, it was 5 against 1, and their realms were not much different, so Instructor Black Dragon Emperor was unable to completely resist the other party's attack. Endless demonic wind, demonic fire, and demonic lightning arrived and broke through the pitch-black Dragon Emperor's dragon defense technique instantly. Then, his divine dragon body was heavily smashed to the ground. The pitch-black dragon emperor was in an extremely sorry state. His entire body was burnt, charred, and his dragon scales were scratched by the wind blades. His injuries were not serious, but they made him look very ugly. Moreover, the 5 demon emperors did not stop attacking him, causing him to be continuously smashed down from the sky. Soon, he smashed into the vast plains outside the Flame Dragon City, creating a deep pit. Looking at this scene, everyone swallowed their saliva. The Frosty North Dragon Emperor was outside with his majestic army of dragon martial artists. But now, he looked extremely desolate. He did not dare to interfere in this battle at all. Seeing the pitch-black dragon emperor being smashed into the ground and creating a deep pit, the Frosty North Dragon Emperor froze. He did not know what to do. "You guys are too much." The pitch-black dragon emperor spat out a mouthful of blood and cursed angrily. Kang Xinmu was stunned. This scene was completely beyond his expectations. He was sure that these 5 demon emperors were definitely called over by Dean Emperor Shi from somewhere. As for saving their descendants, who was he kidding? Up until now, Kang Xinmu had not sensed any movement from the Nightmare Ink beasts. It was obvious that they did not know these 5 demon emperors. The Nightmare Ink beasts were not considered a noble demonic beast race. It was impossible for them to let these 5 demon emperors come out of their nest and go against Donghuang Yangwu College. If they dared to go against Donghuang Yangwu College, there must be some other expert who had promised to help them settle the trouble from Donghuang Yangwu College. Apart from Dean Emperor Shi, Kang Xinmu could not think of anyone else who was qualified to make such a promise. Amazing. Kang Xinmu sighed in his heart. Dean Emperor Shi was indeed Dean Emperor Shi. He could casually call over 5 top-notch demon emperors to help and beat up the pitch-black dragon emperor until he was foaming at the mouth. Under such circumstances, the pitch-black dragon emperor could either escape first and think of a way to capture Kong Shinmu, but as the representative of Donghuang Yangwu College, if he escaped just like that, how would he have the face to come back here? That would be a disgrace to Donghuang Yangwu College. The pitch-black dragon emperor hardened his heart. He felt that there was only one way to go, and that was to call for backup. Even if his face was beaten swollen, it was impossible for him to escape. He had been in Donghuang Yangwu College for so many years and was unparalleled in the beast abyss. In his eyes, the word escape had never existed. Therefore, he finally began to call for backup. How dare you offend Donghuang Yangwu College? You are dead meat. This Kong Shinmu is a little thief that our Dean Zhua has ordered to arrest. You dare to stop him? You are really seeking death. The pitch-black dragon emperor shouted angrily. The token engraved with the words Donghuang finally shone with a strange light. Immediately after, an incomparably strong aura appeared near the spacetime power outlined by the token. An incomparably elegant and strong humanoid figure appeared before everyone's eyes. As soon as this person appeared, he attracted everyone's attention, because his aura was too strong. Even if everyone present combined their aura, they would not be able to match this person's aura. Super Divine Dragon, Zhua Xiaofan. Even if he had not transformed into a divine dragon, his aura at this moment was enough to crush everyone present. One sentence was enough to control the entire situation. Zhua Xiaofan. The expressions of Kong Shinmu and Ran Ran changed slightly. Chapter 4366. Although Dean Emperor Shi had invited the 5 demon emperors to put on a show and successfully lured the other party here, Kong Shinmu had succeeded this time. Speaking of which, Kong Shinmu felt that he did not play any role in the entire matter. Whether it was the modification of the Guardian Array or the invitation of the 5 demon emperors, it was all Dean Emperor Shi's help. Without Dean Emperor Shi's help, this matter would not have been so easy to resolve. Since Zhua Xiaofan had appeared, Kong Shinmu had nothing to worry about. Next, he only needed to watch the show and wait for Dean Emperor Shi to teach Zhua Xiaofan a lesson and make him hand over Dragon Emperor Yan and the others. When Zhua Xiaofan walked out of the void, his long hair fluttered behind him. His indifferent eyes were filled with anger. He did not seem to have expected that sending Dragon Emperor Mentor here to capture Kong Shinmu would cause so much trouble. What was so difficult about this matter? When Zhua Xiaofan appeared, he only glanced at the 5 demon emperors. The 5 demon emperors immediately retreated quickly like birds and beasts, hiding in the white clouds in the sky. They could only see the vague figures of the 5 demon emperors in the white clouds. When Zhua Xiaofan appeared, they did not dare to be arrogant at all. The pitch-black Dragon Emperor Mentor finally removed his Dragon Emperor form and became a black-robed middle-aged man. He patted his buttocks and flew up from the deep pit on the ground to stand behind Zhua Xiaofan. Dean. The black-robed middle-aged Dragon Emperor Mentor bowed respectfully to Zhua Xiaofan. Useless. Zhua Xiaofang's tone was light, but it made Dragon Emperor Mentor feel so ashamed that he could not show his face. For Dragon Emperor Mentor, a super divine dragon like Zhua Xiaofan was definitely their idol and the goal they had to chase after. No matter which Dragon Emperor Mentor it was, their goal was to become a super divine dragon. Therefore, in their eyes, Zhua Xiaofan was an existence that could not be blasphemed. At this moment, Zhua Xiaofan said that he was trash, so he could only grit his teeth and accept it. Because he really didn't do a good job in this matter. Of course, he didn't know that he couldn't do a good job in this matter. It was because he wanted to capture Kong Shinmu. Behind Kong Shinmu stood a figure that he could not afford to offend. Zhua Xiaofan appeared. With his hands behind his back and his long hair fluttering in the wind, he scared off the 5 demon emperors with a single glance. Immediately after, he flew to the sky above Fiery Dragon City, looked down, and saw Jiang Shenwu in the middle of the crowd at a glance. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Jiang Shenwu, don't you like to run? Let me try another one." When Kang Xinmu was at Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, Zhuo Xiaofeng would never dare to cause trouble. But this time, he had schemed to take Dragon Emperor Yan away. When Kang Xinmu returned to the Yan Dragon Emperor Empire, he would definitely not be able to hold himself back. Now, Kang Xinmu finally appeared in front of Zhuo Xiaofeng again. In Zhuo Xiaofeng's eyes, Kang Xinmu was like a grasshopper whose legs were caught by him. There was no way for him to escape. When Zhuo Xiaofeng appeared, the super divine dragon's aura descended on the entire city. Everything within a radius of thousands of miles was enveloped by his aura. Countless dragon martial arts practitioners felt his aura and could not help but kneel down. Super divine dragon. This was a super powerful existence that few people in the Donghuang Dragon Martial City could see. His aura was above all the dragon emperors. Even 10 or 100 dragon emperors combined could not compare to him. At this moment, the appearance of the super divine dragon in Fiery Dragon City made everyone around want to worship him. Of course, that was except for Kang Xinmu. Kang Xinmu looked at Zhuo Xiaofeng's confident look and shook his head. "From the beginning to the end, I, Kang Xinmu, don't think I've done anything wrong. On the contrary, it was you, Dean Zhuo, who had repeatedly targeted me. I still don't know why. Let's talk about it today." "Talk about it?" Zhuo Xiaofeng wanted to laugh when he heard Kang Xinmu's words. "What right do you have to talk to me?" Zhuo Xiaofeng was not the only one who wanted to laugh. The dragon martial arts practitioners around Kang Xinmu were also shocked by Kang Xinmu's words. They were shocked. Kang Xinmu, a mere dragon king, actually had the guts to talk to such an existence like this? He didn't even have the slightest hint of respect in his words. The only "you" in his words even carried a hint of mockery. This Kang Xinmu was too bold, wasn't he? At this moment, most of the dragon martial arts practitioners present already knew that this long-haired, arrogant young man was the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College. Such a powerful existence was so young. This undoubtedly subverted the perception of talent of all the dragon martial arts practitioners in Fiery Dragon City. This was a real peerless genius. What was Kang Xinmu compared to him? Although Kang Xinmu was still just a teenager, they felt that even if Kang Xinmu was given more time, it was basically impossible for him to grow to the same level of strength as the dean. That was far beyond the level of the Dragon Emperor. Not to mention 1 or 2 Dragon Emperors, even if there were more Dragon Emperors, they would not be a match for him. That was a crushing of absolute power. Otherwise, why would the 5 Demon Emperors hide far away when they saw the dean and did not dare to appear again? "Destroy it for me." As Zhuo Xiaofeng spoke softly, he did not even transform into his divine dragon form. He merely raised his hand and a ball of flame appeared from the flame defense barrier outside Fiery Dragon City. Immediately after, the entire barrier was set ablaze and burned to ashes in an instant. The powerful defense barrier that had originally completely blocked the pitch-black Dragon Emperor was broken in front of Zhuo Xiaofeng as if the defense barrier had never existed. When the defense barrier faded, Kang Xinmu and the many dragon martial arts practitioners were no longer isolated from the outside world. At this moment, even if the pitch-black Dragon Emperor were to attack, he could easily capture or kill Kang Xinmu. "Hey, see, I'll leave it to you." Zhuo Xiaofeng looked at Kang Xinmu calmly and did not bother to do it himself. To him, dealing with a small dragon king like Kang Xinmu was really embarrassing. The black-robed middle-aged Dragon Emperor instructor behind him immediately responded, "Yes, Dean." After all, he had the cultivation of the 7th level of the rebirth tribulation state and was at the 5th level of the Dragon Emperor's blood essence. This was enough for him to crush all the powerhouses in the outside world. He looked at Kong Shinmu again. This time, there was no longer that hateful defense barrier. Chapter 4367. The middle-aged Dragon Emperor instructor in black was too lazy to transform into his divine dragon form. Although he could only exert less than 30% of his strength without transforming into a dragon, he believed that he did not need to use 30% of his strength to deal with Kong Shinmu. As for the dragon warriors around Kong Shinmu on the city wall of Yen Dragon City, which one of them was worthy of his attention? With Xiaofan present, no one dared to act rashly. Black Dragon Instructor He Si snorted coldly and flew straight towards Kong Shinmu, wanting to capture him. He Si came very quickly. Everyone only saw a black shadow flying quickly towards Kong Shinmu, and a wave of black samsara force condensed into a big hand, grabbing towards Kong Shinmu and ran. However, at this very moment, He Si's figure suddenly flew backwards at an even faster speed, as if he had been hammered by something. His whole body flew into the sky, even farther than the 5 demon emperors who were hiding. Moreover, he spat out a mouthful of blood directly on the grass outside the city gate, dyeing a large area red. Everyone looked at this scene, and their expressions were almost lifeless. What was going on? Even the super divine dragons Xiaofan had arrived, and there was still someone who dared to cause trouble. Moreover, he even sent the black dragon instructor flying, as if he had just slapped him. What kind of strength was this? Perhaps only an existence at Xiaofan's level could do this, right? As expected. When Xiaofan saw He Si being slapped away by the force from the void, his expression became extremely ugly. There were some things that he had not been able to figure out, but now he had figured it out all at once. No wonder. No wonder Kong Shinmu dared to come back alone, and even dared to cause trouble in Yen Dragon City. No wonder such a simple matter could not be done properly by He Si, and there were problems repeatedly. It turned out that she was involved. At the moment when He Si was slapped away, Xiaofan felt a familiar aura of power. That power definitely came from the Dean of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. Everyone around thought that when Black 4 was sent flying, Xiaofan would definitely fly into a rage out of humiliation. Then, he would probably fight with the mysterious person hiding in the dark, but what everyone didn't expect was, when Black 4 was slapped away, Xiaofan turned around and planned to escape without any hesitation. He turned around, his long hair fluttering behind him. His elegant figure left a series of afterimages behind him. Obviously, he wanted to quickly leave this place. Unfortunately, just as he was about to escape, a red figure appeared in his path of escape. The figure in red was a little far away from the people of Fiery Dragon City, so they could not see him clearly. However, judging from his aura, he had completely crushed Xiaofan. Kong Shinmu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the figure in red. It was the red-clothed beautiful headmaster of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. Now that she had appeared, things would be much easier to handle. Alright, let's go. Everything is fine here. Kong Shinmu finally waved his hand and said to the people around him, everyone, just wait for Dragon Emperor Yen to be released. As for Senior Fiery Dragon Envoy who was killed, I will also strive to seek justice for him. After saying this, he took ran and flew towards the place where Headmaster Emperor Shi was. Obviously, Xiaofan did not dare to fight with Headmaster Emperor Shi, so it was safe for Kong Shinmu to go over. Soon, Kong Shinmu brought ran to Headmaster Emperor Shi's side. She was dressed in red and had a beautiful face. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Xiaofan with a smile. What a coincidence, Xiaofan. We meet again. Headmaster Emperor Shi's eyes bloomed with a smile. He looked at Xiaofan, but there was obvious disgust in the depths of his eyes. It was obvious that Headmaster Emperor Shi did not have a good impression of Xiaofan. Yu Yaji, this has nothing to do with you. Zhuo Xiaofeng snorted coldly. Do you really want to go against me? Why does it have nothing to do with me? Headmaster Emperor Shi's beautiful eyebrows raised. Since you dare to have designs on Yu Tianchang, will you not dare to face me? Yu Yaji? He had designs on Yu Tianchang. When Kang Xinmu heard this, he suddenly had a feeling of realization. Yu Yaji and Yu Tianchang both had the surname Yu. The surname Yu was not common in the Dragon Martial continent. It was obviously not a coincidence that both of them had the same surname. Moreover, when Yu Tianchang gave him the token of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, he felt that something was wrong. If he just admired Yu Tianchang, there was no need to return the token to her. After all, she had already chosen to join Donghuang Yangwu College. Now it seemed that Headmaster Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, Yu Yaji, and Yu Tianchang had a very close relationship. Sisters? This should not be possible. After all, there seemed to be a big age gap between them. It was not that Yu Yaji was a little old, but that Yu Yaji was too mature. Yu Tianchang was originally very talented. There was no reason that when Yu Yaji became a super divine dragon, Yu Tianchang was still challenging the #1 student in Donghuang Yangwu College. Then, between the two of them, could they be mother and daughter? This was possible, but Kang Xinmu could not be sure now, so he simply stopped guessing. The only question now was why Yu Tianchang joined Donghuang Yangwu College when she had such a close person in Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. Kang Xinmu could not understand this now. Now, Kang Xinmu finally knew why Headmaster Emperor Shi had been helping him. Logically speaking, it was not necessary. Now it seemed that she wanted to take this opportunity to give Zhuo Xiaofeng a good warning, so that he would not have any designs on Yu Tianchang. Kang Xinmu's matter was just Yu Yaji's help. She could also use this matter to threaten Zhuo Xiaofeng. Yu Yaji, I did not force your niece to do anything. Zhuo Xiaofeng snorted coldly, even if something happens in the future, it will be consensual. You have no right to stop us, shut up. Hearing Zhuo Xiaofeng's words, Yu Yaji's smiling face suddenly darkened. This heavy, shut up, made Zhuo Xiaofeng immediately stop talking. He did not dare to say even one more word. No matter what, as long as I find out that you have designs on her again, today's matter will definitely be heard by the Dragon of Calamity. You're on your own. Yu Yaji, headmaster of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, sneered, of course, if you promise not to get close to Yu Tianchang in the future, I will pretend that today's matter never happened. You should understand that you kidnapped Dragon Emperor Yan and killed a Dragon King. This matter is already considered as interfering with the development of the Dragon Emperor's country, and you even hunted down Kang Xinmu, a genius student of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. If this matter is reported, do you think it will end well for you? It could be seen that Zhuo Xiaofeng's position seemed to be ordinary. At least, after breaking the rules in this matter, he would definitely be severely punished. Kang Xinmu began to speculate in his heart. Zhuo Xiaofeng's situation was a bit complicated, but it could be seen that even the headmaster of Dragon Martial Arts Academy did not have the power to interfere with the development of the Dragon Emperor's country in the Dragon Martial continent. Chapter 4368. When Yu Yaji, the dean of Emperor Shi, said this, Zhuo Xiaofeng's face became very ugly. He really did not expect to meet Yu Yaji here today. Kang Xinmu was at most a Dragon King, and he was only at the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. There were too many students at this level in the Dragon Martial Arts Academy. Even if he showed some unusual talent, he would not be paid so much attention by a dean. But now, Yu Yaji really followed Kang Xinmu to the Yen Dragon Emperor's court, and she even waited for Zhuo Xiaofeng here. Zhuo Xiaofeng wanted to laugh. He knew that this was probably because of Yu Tianchang. He had ideas about Yu Tianchang, so Yu Yaji came to warn him. He would not take ordinary warnings to heart. But this time, what he did to Kang Xinmu was really too much. If he reported it, it would not do him any good, and it would definitely bring him huge losses. So, he had to swallow this matter of targeting Kang Xinmu. Zhuo Xiaofeng was also a person who had experienced many things. He quickly figured out the situation and knew what he should do next. So he said in a deep voice, "Okay, then as you said, I will let this guy go this time. In the future, I will not have any ideas about Yu Tianchang. Of course, if this guy provokes me again in the future, I will not be merciful. That's a matter between you two." Yu Yaji said lightly. "I will arrange for the release of Dragon Emperor Yan and his 11 subordinates. Goodbye." Zhuo Xiaofeng's face darkened, and he turned to leave. This time, Yu Yaji did not stop him. After all, Zhuo Xiaofeng had already given his choice and answer. Zhuo Xiaofeng could not go back on the two things he had promised, otherwise, he would pay a greater price. This matter was finally settled. After Zhuo Xiaofeng left, Yu Yaji finally turned around and looked at Kang Xinmu. She said apologetically, "Zhuo Xiaofeng's status is not low. Even I can't punish him directly. Even if we report this matter, we won't be able to kill him. Instead, it will cause you and the people around you to face greater danger in the future. So, it's better to use it as a handle to restrain him." "Yes." Kang Xinmu nodded, indicating that he understood. Of course, he could not interfere with Yu Yaji's actions. Although he hoped that Yu Yaji would directly report this matter to the higher-ups so that Zhuo Xiaofeng would be punished, what Yu Yaji said was right. After all, it was impossible to put Zhuo Xiaofeng to death in this matter. After reporting it, Zhuo Xiaofeng would definitely not let Kang Xinmu have an easy time, and even Yu Tianchang would be implicated. Yu Tianchang was now in Donghuang Yangwu College. If Zhuo Xiaofeng wanted to do anything to her, no one could stop him. With such a handle on him, it could be regarded as restraining Zhuo Xiaofeng. However, there was no doubt that the Yen Dragon envoy killed by the Black-Robed Dragon Emperor, He Si, would never come back. Kang Xinmu could not take revenge for this matter, and Yu Yaji would not kill a Donghuang Yangwu College mentor for this matter. So, if Kang Xinmu wanted to take revenge, he had to rely on himself. The mentor of Donghuang Yangwu College, He Si. The current dean of Donghuang Yangwu College, Zhuo Xiaofeng. These two people, there was a murderous intent in the depths of Kang Xinmu's eyes, but he did not show it at all. He was too weak now. No matter how much he wanted to take revenge, it was impossible. He had to become stronger. Yu Tianchang is my sister's daughter. Yu Yaji suddenly turned her head and said, she should have grown up in our Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Arts College. However, the former dean of Donghuang Yangwu College was her mother's savior. So, she went to join Donghuang Yangwu College, intending to repay him for her mother. Unfortunately, the dean happened to retire at this time, and Zhuo Xiaofeng took over as dean. Hearing this, Kang Xinmu finally knew what was going on with Yu Tianchang. Originally, he thought that things were as Yu Tianchang said. He did not expect that there was more to it. However, at that time, Yu Tianchang took Kang Xinmu to escape from Donghuang Yangwu College, so there was really no need to tell the truth to Kang Xinmu. Anyway, this matter had little to do with Kang Xinmu. Whether she told him or not, it did not matter to him. Yen Dragon Emperor of the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty and his 11 subordinates of the Dragon King should be sent back soon. When I see them, I will leave first. Yu Yaji said one last sentence, and then her figure flashed and disappeared in front of Kang Xinmu. If she hid, no one would be able to find her trace. Yu Yaji's purpose of this trip had been achieved. The next step was to wait for Kang Xinmu to be sent back to Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Arts College. Otherwise, if Kang Xinmu were to fly back by himself, he would probably have to fly for a few more months. When things were settled on their side, the black-robed dragon emperor also left with Xiaofan. The remaining dragon martial artists inside and outside Yen Dragon City were all feeling uneasy. In this confrontation between the super divine dragons, there was no doubt that Kang Xinmu's side had obtained the victory. As for who Yu Yaji was, the people of Yen Dragon City and the northern Chill Dragon Country naturally did not know. However, they saw with their own eyes that when Yu Yaji appeared, Zhuo Xiaofan, the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College, fled for his life. Obviously, even Zhuo Xiaofan was afraid of this person. So what if Kang Xinmu betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College? It was obvious that he had found a stronger backer. This made many people sigh. What was wrong with Kang Xinmu? Wherever he went, there were people supporting him. How shameful. However, if such an opportunity was given to everyone present, they believed that no one would refuse it. Everyone present was a little embarrassed. The Dragon Emperor of the Northern Chill Dragon Country was feeling extremely complicated and uneasy. He should have followed the Black-Robed Dragon Emperor to conquer the Yen Dragon Emperor Empire. But now, the Black-Robed Dragon Emperor had run away, and even the Dean of Donghuang Yangwu College had run away. He no longer pursued the matter of Kang Xinmu. What should the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor do? The dragon martial artists on the city wall of Yen Dragon City were also feeling very complicated now. They had just thought of kidnapping Kang Xinmu and handing him over to the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor, just because the Black-Robed Dragon Emperor said that Kang Xinmu was a defector from Donghuang Yangwu College. But now, the Donghuang Yangwu College's mentor and dean had run away with their tails between their legs. They did not know who was right and who was wrong in this matter, but the final victor was Jiang Xinwu. This was something that everyone could see clearly. Chapter 43-69. On the city wall of Fiery Dragon City, the heaven-opening Devil Dragon was equally embarrassed. If not for the sudden change in the situation, it was likely that he would have forcefully attacked Jiang Xinwu. The current situation really caused him to feel somewhat ashamed to continue staying. It could even be said that if Jiang Xinwu did not pursue his responsibility, it would already be an extremely good thing. What should he do now? He definitely did not dare to let the heaven-opening Devil Dragon leave, but staying here would make him look stupid. On the other hand, old Shui, who was not far away from the heaven-opening Devil Dragon, felt lucky to have escaped from death. He did not want to do anything to Kang Xinmu just now. He was very obedient, and the current situation proved that his choice was right. At that time, he admitted that he killed the crown prince of the Beihan region and chose to join the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. Now it seemed that he had made a huge profit. Because Kang Xinmu was the final winner, and the Beihan Dragon Emperor was still here. How could Kang Xinmu let him live? As if realizing this, the Beihan Dragon Emperor looked at Kang Xinmu, who was flying back, and made a prompt decision to escape with his dragon martial artist army. However, Kang Xinmu naturally would not let him go. This incident originally had nothing to do with the Beihan Dragon Emperor, but this guy actually tried to invade the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty again, and even occupied Fiery Dragon City. The Beihan Dragon Emperor must have been prepared to die here. Therefore, when Kang Xinmu flew back and saw the Beihan Dragon Emperor trying to escape, he immediately sneered and ordered the city gate, Qi Tian, and everyone in the Fiery Dragon army, listen up. Stop the Beihan Dragon Emperor. The Beihan Dragon Country was a remote country of the Dragon Emperor. Unlike the countries near the Dragon Academy, there were many Dragon Emperor-level powerhouses. There was only one Dragon Emperor in the Beihan Dragon Country. It was the Dragon Emperor of the Frigid North. If the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor died here, the entire Northern Chill Dragon Country would fall apart. However, this was war, and there was no way to change the outcome. If it wasn't the collapse of the Northern Chill Dragon Country, then it would be the collapse of the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. Comparing the two outcomes, Kang Xinmu would definitely prefer the former. If he didn't kill the Dragon Emperor this time, who knew what he would do next time? When the Beihan Dragon Emperor tried to sneak away, Kang Xinmu ordered the heaven-opening demon dragon to intercept him. At this time, how could the heaven-opening demonic dragon not give it his all? At this moment, the entire Yen Dragon Emperor's court seemed to be on steroids as they followed the heaven-opening rogue dragon and flew out of Yen Dragon City. Now, Kang Xinmu is amazing. Even the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College couldn't do anything to him. The captured Yen Dragon Emperor and the Yen Dragon Envoys would be sent back soon. This was unimaginable. This Kang Xinmu was just an ordinary young dragon warrior in the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. However, in a short time, at this moment, the level that Kang Xinmu came into contact with had far surpassed the Yen Dragon Emperor's court, and even all the people in the surrounding Dragon Emperor kingdom. The heaven-opening demon dragon chased after the Dragon Emperor in a frenzy. The Dragon Emperor originally wanted to sneak away, but he was followed by a large group of dragon warriors. How could he leave quietly with such a large group of dragon warriors? When the heaven-opening demon dragon led the Yen Dragon Emperor's court to chase after the dragon warriors, the Dragon Emperor made up his mind and turned back with a cold expression. He wanted to risk his life and take as many as he could. Now the Dragon Emperor knew that he had kicked an iron plate this time. Who would have known that Kang Xinmu had a stronger backer? But it was too late to regret now. He knew that Kang Xinmu would not let him go. After all, this was not the first time he had offended the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. But he would not give up without putting up a fight. He wanted to kill to his heart's content before he died. He wanted to kill as many as he could. Unfortunately, just as he was thinking about this, the clouds in the surrounding sky suddenly shook. Endless storms, lightning, ice, and fire burst out from the sky and swept down. The 5 demon emperors had been hiding in the clouds in the sky. Now that Xiaofan had left, they finally appeared again. We are here to save our descendants. The 5 demon emperors with different shapes and different bloodlines shouted at this moment. They rushed down from the clouds and attacked the group of Beihan Dragon Emperor's group. Although Kang Xinmu did not know who their descendants were, the momentum they had when they rushed up was really scary. Originally, they were here to resist the Black-Robed Dragon Emperor. Now, it couldn't be any easier for them to deal with the Northern Chilled Dragon Emperor. Now they also recognized Kang Xinmu. This young dragon warrior was a genius that Yu Yaji thought highly of. She even stayed in the Yen Dragon City to wait for him. This showed how important Kang Xinmu's status was. These 5 demon emperors could be regarded as the top existences among the demon cultivators in the whole dragon martial continent. Of course, they knew what Yu Yaji's identity represented. Therefore, they also wanted to help Jiang Shenwu and become familiar with him. Who knows, they might even get a lot of benefits in the future. Originally, when the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon led the Yen Dragon Emperor's army toward the Dragon Warriors, Beihan Dragon Emperor and the others wanted to fight to the death. However, when the 5 demon emperors rushed down from the clouds and their violent power shrouded the whole area, everyone, including Beihan Dragon Emperor, collapsed at once. 1 dragon emperor against 5 demon emperors. How could they fight? These 5 demon emperors were not ordinary demon emperors. Each of the 5 demon emperors could fight against 5 Northern Chill Dragon Emperors alone. How could the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor and his Dragon Martial Warrior army be a match for them? Without thinking, Beihan Dragon Emperor knelt down in the direction of Kang Xinmu. Young Master Jiang, please spare my life. Cough. I know I was wrong. I will join the Yen Dragon Emperor's court in the future and I will not dare to be disloyal. As he knelt in the air, the dragon martialists behind him also did the same. Instantly, they all knelt in the air in the direction of Jiang Shenwu. This situation gave everyone a fright. The 5 martial dominator beasts stopped their attacks and glanced at Jiang Shenwu, as if they were asking for his opinion. Seeing this, Kang Xinmu felt a little flattered. These 5 demon emperors were not ordinary. Now, was he going to order them? Although he felt a little strange and embarrassed, Kang Xinmu still tried to say, then kill Beihan Dragon Emperor. As for the others, don't kill them. After all, they are not the masterminds. Chapter 4370. Even though the Dragon Emperor of the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor was in charge of the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor's country, he was still at the bottom of the emperors, in the eyes of the truly powerful cultivators. Any one of the 5 demon emperors could easily crush the Dragon Emperor of the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor. Among the Dragon Emperors, the Dragon Emperor of the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor was the weakest. He was one of the 5 demon emperors, so he was turned into a pile of charcoal with a single strike of lightning. He didn't even have time to transform into a dragon before he lost his life. The Dragon Emperor of the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor died so easily that no one could react in time. Then, the Dragon Martial Artist Army of the Northern Chill Dragon Country knelt before Kang Xinmu. The Dragon Martial Artist Army commanders and deputy commanders all took a step forward and swore that they were willing to work for the Yen Dragon Emperor's court from now on. They were doing this for the sake of their friends and family in the Northern Chill Dragon Country. If they didn't obey, the Yen Dragon Emperor's court would definitely attack the Northern Chill Dragon Country and kill everyone there. However, if they obeyed now, when the Yen Dragon Emperor's court took over the Northern Chill Dragon Country, they would definitely be much gentler and less people would suffer. Now that the Northern Chill Dragon Emperor was dead, the Northern Chill Dragon Country would definitely be taken over by the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. Of course, the Yen Dragon Emperor's court didn't necessarily need such a large territory. After all, the larger the territory, the more difficult it was to manage. It was all up to Kang Xinmu. What about the extra Northern Chill Dragon Country? Kang Xinmu felt a headache coming on. He knew that the Yen Dragon Emperor had no interest in expanding his territory, and neither did Kang Xinmu. What was the point of expanding his territory? At most, he would get some more cultivation resources. In order to obtain these cultivation resources, he would definitely have to assign more powerful cultivators to guard and manage the territory. As for the experts who were sent to guard and manage the place, they naturally needed more cultivation resources as well. In the long run, the Dragon Emperor at the top did not get any substantial benefits at all. Of course, unless he was like the Dragon Emperor of the Beihan region, who wanted to rule the land he occupied and take all cultivation resources. But then, it would be difficult for the Dragon Emperor, who had lost the people's support, to go further. After all, the cultivation resources that the Dragon Emperor's country could produce were limited. If all of them were taken away by the Dragon Emperor, the dragon warriors under him would not be able to improve their strength, and that would cause a huge problem. Once the other countries of the Dragon Emperor came to invade, they basically couldn't resist. Losing a large piece of territory was still acceptable. It was normal for the Dragon Emperor of the Northern Frost to lose his life like this. I can ask the Donghuang Yangwu College to send a Dragon Emperor to take over. At this time, Yu Yaji's words came to Kang Xinmu's ears. Some countries of the Dragon Emperor are guarded by several Dragon Emperors, but these Dragon Emperors are not willing to share a country of the Dragon Emperor. Now that the territory of the Beihan Dragon Country is empty, there are a lot of Dragon Emperors who want to take over. Although this place is a bit remote, it produces a lot of cultivation resources. Yu Yaji's words made Kang Xinmu feel relieved. Since she was willing to handle this matter, she would definitely be able to handle it properly. If the Beihan Dragon Country had a new Dragon Emperor, it might not be called the Beihan Dragon Country anymore. Of course, this had nothing to do with Kang Xinmu. When the Dragon Emperor of the Beihan Dragon Country died, one of the 5 demon emperors transformed into a green lizard man and came to Kang Xinmu. It was this Thunder Lizard Man who had just killed the Dragon Emperor of the Beihan Dragon Country. I am the Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor. You are a genius. The Thunder Lizard Man came to Kong Shinmu and laughed heartily. Then, he said, if you want to return to this place from the west in the future, you can come to the Boundary Forest to look for me. We demons also have an ancient spacetime array that can allow you to travel back and forth. It will save you time. Thank you, Senior Demon Emperor. Kong Shinmu was flattered. This guy's strength was almost on par with the great mentors of the Dragon Martial Academy. The Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor would not take an ordinary Dragon Emperor seriously at all. Now that the Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor was so polite to Kong Shinmu really did not expect it. Most importantly, the Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor was willing to provide the ancient spacetime array in the Boundary Forest so that he could travel back to the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. This undoubtedly solved one of Kong Shinmu's troubles. The ancient spacetime array that was closest to the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty seemed to be located near the Demon Emperor Dragon Country. There, Kong Shinmu had been chased by a powerhouse. However, so much time had passed, and the other party had probably given up on hunting him down. The world was so big, how could the other party know where Kong Shinmu had gone? They probably wouldn't even think that Kong Shinmu would go back. Moreover, after Kong Shinmu traveled to the forest near the Demon Emperor Dragon Country, he could totally take a detour and not pass through the Demon Emperor Dragon Country. That would be the safest way, as it would not waste much time anyway. You're welcome. Since this matter is over, we'll take our leave. The Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor did not waste any time and left with the other 4 Demon Emperors after saying that to Kong Shinmu. The 5 Demon Emperors seemed to be from different places. As they flew away, they were communicating with each other about how often they would visit each other's houses. It was obvious that they were not from the same place. The Thunder Lizard Demon Emperor was from the Boundary Forest, while the other 4 Demon Emperors usually lived in other forests and were the leaders of their respective forests. They were gathered here because of Yu Yaji's appearance. Of course, they were not there to save their juniors. The Obsidian Ink Beast did not have the authority to make the 5 Demon Emperors take action, but it was a good reason. At least, Xiaofan and He Si did not suspect anything. After Yu Yaji appeared, it was useless for them to suspect anything. The 5 Demon Emperors left. The Dragon Martial Artist Army of the Northern Chill Dragon Country all agreed to obey and were temporarily incorporated by the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. Now that there was no one strong enough to control the situation on the side of the Dragon Emperor's court, Kong Shinmu had to make the arrangements himself. After all, Kong Shinmu had a powerful woman in red behind him. Even the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College was afraid of her. Therefore, it was not wrong for the people of the Yen Dragon Emperor's court and the Northern Chill Dragon Country to listen to Kong Shinmu. As for old Shui, he made it real. He originally wanted to put on an act and see what would happen, but now he had no time to think about it. He could only choose to join the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. The situation was finally completely stabilized. 3 days later, the Yen Dragon Emperor finally appeared in the distant sky outside the Yen Dragon City with 11 Yen Dragon envoys and flew back to the Yen Dragon City quickly. At this moment, the entire Yen Dragon City was filled with excited cheers. Chapter 4371. When Dragon Emperor Yen returned, he only brought back 11 Yen Dragon envoys, including Dragon King Ming and Dragon King Kei, who were more familiar with Kong Shinmu. Kong Shinmu had never seen the Yen Dragon envoy who died in the hands of Dragon Emperor Mentor. However, after this incident, Kong Shinmu had a deep hatred for the Dragon Emperor Mentor of Donghuang Yangwu College, He Si. Of course, the person he hated the most was Xiaofan. This person, as the dean of Donghuang Yangwu College, actually targeted a new student like him, and even brought disaster to his hometown. If I rise, I will definitely kill you. Kong Shinmu's eyes were filled with hatred, and it was directed at Xiaofan. Originally, although he hated Xiaofan, he had no enmity with him. It was just that he was forced to go to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. This experience was not necessarily a bad thing for his growth. But now, someone died because of him. Kong Shinmu brought Ran to attend the funeral of the Yen Dragon envoy. Dragon Emperor Yen even spent 3 days to build a burial palace for him. In front of the burial palace, Kong Shinmu swore that he would definitely kill Xiaofan in this life. After settling down, Dragon Emperor Yen began to arrange and deal with a series of things that happened recently, including Elder Shui who had surrendered to him in the northern Chill Dragon country, the Dragon Martial Artist Army, and so on. Dragon Emperor Yen did not want to accept these people. After all, accepting them meant that he would have to feed them. Where would he get so many resources? Therefore, they were all sent back, including old Shui. On one hand, he could not afford to feed them, so he did not want to waste resources. On the other hand, it was also because people who were hostile to the Dragon Emperor's country were uncomfortable in his own country. He was afraid that they would betray him one day. Instead of that, it was better to send them back directly. After all, there was no special need for them. Moreover, Kong Shinmu had already told everyone that there would soon be a new Dragon Emperor to take over the Northern Chill Dragon country, so there was no need to worry about the development of the Northern Chill Dragon country. However, the Northern Chill Dragon country would no longer be called the Northern Chill Dragon country. Heaven-opening Devil Dragon bade farewell to Kong Shinmu on the day Dragon Emperor Yen returned. He was too ashamed to stay any longer. However, Kong Shinmu had no intention of blaming him. No matter what, the Heaven-awakening Devil Dragon had helped him a lot this time. As for the reason why the Heaven-awakening Devil Dragon had wanted to capture him previously, it was because Dragon Emperor's mentor, He Si, had said that he had defected from Donghuang Yangwu College. It was normal for anyone to have the same thoughts as the Heaven-opening demonic dragon after hearing such news. Therefore, Kong Shinmu did not blame the Heaven-awakening Devil Dragon. If the Heaven-awakening Devil Dragon wanted to leave, he would let him go directly. As for Kong Shinmu, after attending the funeral of the Yen Dragon envoy, he left for the Dragon Sealing Abyss. He wanted to try to break through to the 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. This was what he should have done when he returned to the Dragon Emperor dynasty. Unfortunately, Xiaofan had interfered and wasted a lot of time. Originally, Kong Shinmu wanted to find Jiang Liuxue, Shi Yueying, and the other girls and transfer some Dragon Mark energy to them. However, when he thought of his trip and that Yu Yaji was secretly observing him, he gave up the idea. For the time being, Kong Shinmu did not want to disclose the fact that he could transfer the Dragon Mark energy to others. He especially did not want to be known by someone of Yu Yaji's level. Otherwise, no one knew what would happen. Therefore, he directly brought Ran to the vicinity of the Dragon Sealing Abyss. As for the reason why he had to break through in this place, Kong Shinmu did not tell Yu Yaji. Anyway, she did not ask. If she asked, Kong Shinmu would think of another reason to explain. It turned out that Yu Yaji really did not care about Kong Shinmu. Previously, she seemed to have some doubts as to why Kong Shinmu had to return to the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty to break through. However, now she did not ask anything. She just hid in the dark and protected Kong Shinmu. When Kong Shinmu finished his breakthrough, she would bring the two of them back. From the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm to the 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, the strength of the Nirvana beast that I need to deal with is much stronger than before. In the snowy mountains near the Dragon Sealing Abyss, the black dragon that Kong Shinmu transformed into contended with the Nirvana beast that appeared in the sky. He found that the difficulty was much greater than before. Ran watched from the side. As for Yu Yaji, she naturally did not know where she was. When she hid, she was even more stealthy than the Nightmare Ink beast. It was impossible for anyone to find any trace of her. Otherwise, she would not have been able to successfully deceive Xiaofan. Apart from the two of them, there was no one else in the entire world. Kang Shinmu deliberately chose to break through in an extremely remote valley near the dragon's sealing abyss, so that others would not see the scene of him breaking through. Although the first Nirvana beast that appeared when he broke through was very strong, it was still nothing to Kang Shinmu. What he was worried about was the second Nirvana beast that could condense his Nirvana power. Condensing Nirvana power was not a simple matter. Most of the dragon martial artists in the world could not defeat the second Nirvana beast. At this moment, Kang Shinmu wanted to break through from the 5th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm to the 6th level. He quickly used the Void Dragon Sky-raising break with the devouring power and killed the first Nirvana beast. However, when the second Nirvana beast appeared, heaven and earth were shocked. In Kang Shinmu's senses, it was almost as strong as the Dragon King, who was at the 3rd level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm. Such a terrifying power was not something that ordinary dragon martial artists could deal with. How could an ordinary 5th level Nirvana Tribulation Realm deal with a 3rd level Rebirth Tribulation Realm? Even if it was Jiang Shenwu, the pressure he felt when facing this Nirvana beast was extremely great. This was because this strength just happened to be the limit of what he could devour for his own use. If the opponent's strength was slightly stronger, then it would be very difficult for Jiang Shenwu to deal with it. Even if he could devour it for his own use, he would suffer from very serious repercussions, and it was even possible that he would directly faint. Devour. Dragon Scar Blood. The power of Kang Shinmu's Dragon Scar Blood pendant began to fuse with his own blood essence, causing the dragon blood in his body to boil. The devouring power, which was dyed red by blood, exploded with a powerful aura and devoured the violent power of the Nirvana beast. The two powers intertwined in midair and collided with each other, causing a wave of power ripples that caused countless people to raise their eyebrows and spread towards the distant sky. Even the dragon martial artists of the Yen Dragon Emperor who were stationed in the dragon's sealing abyss saw this scene. Chapter 43-72. About half a day had passed. The fierce battle near the dragon's sealing abyss gradually subsided. In the valley where Kang Shinmu chose to break through, his black dragon body was already full of wounds. Many of the wounds were so deep that bones could be seen, and it would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. Dragon King, who was at the 3rd level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm, was an extremely powerful existence. It was extremely difficult for Kang Shinmu to defeat his opponent by himself. However, while defeating his opponent, Kang Shinmu's innate talent, Nirvana Force, was further refined. This time, Jiang Shenwu condensed and devoured the energy of Nirvana once more, and at the same time that he broke through, his strength underwent a transformation. Generally speaking, when the Rebirth Tribulation Realm increased by one level, the dragon martial artist's strength would increase by more than double that of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. However, this time, Kang Shinmu defeated the second Nirvana beast just like the last time. This made his Nirvana force even more refined, allowing him to break through to the 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. The increase in strength was much greater than the increase of one level in the Rebirth Tribulation Realm. The 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Kang Shinmu had finally reached this level, and his current combat strength was comparable to the 4th level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm, Dragon King. He had increased by one level, and the experts he could deal with had also increased by one level. Of course, the 4th level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm was much stronger than the 3rd level. The main reason was that there would be a qualitative leap in some aspects after stepping into the middle level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm. With Kang Shinmu's current strength, he could at most devour the power of the 4th level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm for his own use. This was already very terrifying. Of course, the pressure was a little too great. If it took too long, or if the opponent continued to erupt, Kang Shinmu would not be able to withstand it. Therefore, it could only be said that Kang Shinmu's strength was between the 3rd and 4th level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm. Moreover, if he encountered some stronger 3rd level Rebirth Tribulation Realm experts, he would not be a match for them. At the same cultivation level, there was a difference in strength. If he encountered a student from the Dragon Martial Academy, he might only be able to deal with the Dragon King, who was at the first level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. Of course, not all the students from the Dragon Martial Academy were very powerful. Originally, my strength was about the same as the students of Yuheng District. But now that I've broken through to the next level, my strength has increased by a lot. I should be able to barely reach the standard of the Migres area students. After all, the grade of Kong Shinmu's divine dragon blood was not high. It was only at the third level of the Dragon King's blood. The difference between him and the other students of the Dragon Martial Academy was too great. After the breakthrough, Kong Shinmu stayed in the valley to recuperate for 2 hours. Even with the recovery speed of his Dark Dragon Filth Mastery, it still took him 4 hours to recover. It was clear that his injuries were quite severe. When he was fighting the second Nirvana beast, Kong Shinmu felt that he had too few tricks up his sleeves. He could only rely on the devouring Nirvana force that was fused with the power of the Dragon Scar blood. Even his offensive Dragon Martial skill was only the Void Dragon Sky Raising Break. I still miss the way I fought in the past. As long as I can injure my opponent, I can endlessly devour their flesh and blood essence. It's a pity that I can't do that now. If the Black Dragon's consciousness awakens, I'll be finished. Kong Shinmu shook his head. After he had fully recovered, he stood up and planned to leave this place. The strength of the second Nirvana beast is much stronger than before. I'm afraid I won't have the chance to condense Nirvana force the next time I break through to the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Kong Shinmu felt that he would not be able to kill the second Nirvana beast the next time. But no matter what, he had to give it a try and work hard. Whether he could kill the second Nirvana beast or not, the difference in strength was too great. If Kong Shinmu had not condensed Nirvana force during his 2 breakthroughs, he would have died if he met the Dragon King who was at the 3rd level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. This was the difference. Otherwise, how could he be so much stronger than the other dragon martial artists of the same level? It was impossible to reach such a level just by devouring Nirvana force. When Kong Shinmu had rested and was ready to leave, the beautiful Dean Yuyaji, who was dressed in red, finally walked out from the void at the side. She admired Kong Shinmu now and nodded her head in satisfaction. Your talent is not bad, it's even comparable to mine when I was young. If you continue to improve at this level, it won't be difficult for you to surpass Xiaofan. Of course, the subsequent breakthroughs will be even more difficult. After all, you have condensed Nirvana force. You have to be careful when you break through to the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. If you still want to condense Nirvana force and challenge the second Nirvana beast, pay attention to improving your combat strength during this period of time. Especially in terms of the dragon martial arts, you have only grasped a beginner source of dragon martial arts to attack your opponent. You are lacking in techniques. Of course, your defensive and recovery techniques are not bad. Dark Dragon Imperial Filth Technique is the high-grade source of dragon martial arts from the Northern Wilderness Dragon Martial Academy. Although I don't know how you learned it, if you can cultivate this dragon martial arts to a higher level, it will be of great help to your next breakthrough. Yuyaji's words could be considered as pointers to Kong Shinmu. He did not have a mentor in the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy and did not receive any pointers. However, what Yuyaji said today was of great help to Kong Shinmu. In the past, when he was in Donghuang Yangwu College, Kong Shinmu would occasionally ask Chu Yueqiang for advice. Chu Yueqiang would also answer his questions seriously and in detail, solving many of his problems. However, Chu Yueqiang's level was slightly lower than Yuyaji's. The things that she explained were still more useful. The main reason was that Yuyaji was at the same level as Kong Shinmu. She had once defeated the second Nirvana beast and condensed Nirvana force. After all, Yuyaji had the same level of talent as Kong Shinmu. She had experienced many things, so her explanations were of greater help to Kang Xinmu. Thank you for your pointers, senior. Kang Xinmu was very grateful to Yu Yaji. Regardless of whether it was in terms of cultivation or other aspects, she had been of great help to him. You're welcome. Yu Yaji smiled faintly. The stronger you are, the more help you will be to the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy. The exchange between the 4 academies that happens once every 10 years is your stage. As long as you perform well, it will be the greatest mockery to Zhuo Xiaofan. The more outstanding you are, the more uncomfortable Zhuo Xiaofan will feel. Zhuo Xiaofang's days will come to an end when you are so outstanding that you can shock everyone. The Dragon of Calamity of the Clear Sky will definitely not let him off easily. He actually personally sent a genius dragon martial artist like you to our Emperor Shi. Yu Yaji felt that this was a little funny. She sized up Kang Xinmu and felt that Kang Xinmu's talent seemed to be stronger than hers back then. She was not sure now, but this did not mean that Kang Xinmu would definitely rise. After she became a student of the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy, she had seen many amazing and peerless geniuses. There were even some who were comparable to Kang Xinmu, but none of them made it to the end. Geniuses were only strong when they grew up. Chapter 4373. After breaking through to the 6th tier of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, Kang Xinmu felt refreshed. After all, this meant that his cultivation had reached a new height. However, he knew that his current level was nothing. He needed to work harder. Then, Yu Yaji took him and ran through the void and returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy in the west. When he reappeared near Emperor Shi's formation, Kang Xinmu felt as if he had been in another world. Many things had happened during his return to the Dragon Emperor Court. The most important thing was that he saw Zhuo Xiaofang suffer a setback. He also learned that Emperor Shi's dean's name was Yu Yaji, and Yu Tianchang was her sister's daughter. Of course, knowing this was of little use to Kang Xinmu. His next task was even more arduous because he needed to consider the difficulty of defeating the second Nirvana beast when breaking through to the 7th tier of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Therefore, he had to improve his strength as quickly as possible during this period of time. Resources were strength. As long as Kang Xinmu had enough experience points, he could exchange for advanced source dragon martial arts techniques to enhance his strength. At the same time, he could continue to cultivate the dark dragon filth controlling skill. Although he had played a big role in cultivating this dragon martial arts technique, he had never broken through to a higher level. At the current stage, the effect of his dark dragon filth controlling skill was still much worse than Ran's. Kang Xinmu's recovery ability mainly relied on devouring. However, if he cultivated the dark dragon filth controlling skill to a higher level, Kang Xinmu would recover quickly in battle and would not even need to rely on devouring power. Moreover, the effect would definitely be better when the two were combined. Let's devour some dragon mark energy first. Kang Xinmu thought to himself. The dragon mark energy could improve the level of his divine dragon blood essence. Although the effect of upgrading one level at the Dragon King stage was not great, if he upgraded several levels in a row, it would add up to a considerable amount. Upgrading the Dragon King's blood essence by about 3 levels was equivalent to breaking through one level in the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, so Kang Xinmu still planned to devour the Dragon Mark's energy when he was free. With the Dragon Mark blood pendant as a cover, Kang Xinmu became much bolder when he swallowed the energy of the Dragon Mark. With a speed 10 times that of a normal student, he swallowed the energy of the Dragon Mark into his body. Moreover, he had stored quite a lot of them, and he had originally planned to pass them on to Jiang Liuxue, Shi Yueying, and the other women. Now that he didn't have the chance to do so, he used them to improve himself. During this period of time, Kang Xinmu did not go out to complete any training missions, nor did he have any plans to go to the Beast Abyss. After all, the commotion he caused in the Beast Abyss last time had not died down yet. If he went now and encountered any danger, it would be terrible. Therefore, Kang Xinmu decided to improve his strength first. From the 3rd grade of the Dragon King's blood essence, to the 4th grade, and then to the 5th grade. In the short span of half a month, Kang Xinmu directly broke through the grade of his divine dragon blood essence by 2 grades. When he appeared in front of the public again, everyone was shocked. At this speed, if Kang Xinmu wanted to reach the level of the Dragon Emperor, it wouldn't take more than a few years. Of course, this was also because the first 5 grades of the Dragon King were still relatively easy to improve. After reaching the 5th grade, the amount of Dragon Mark energy required for each grade increase was several times that of the previous grade. In other words, if Kang Xinmu broke through to the 5th grade of the Dragon King, it was practically the limit for him to improve his strength as quickly as possible. If he wanted to swallow the energy of the Dragon Mark and raise his divine dragon blood essence to the 6th grade of the Dragon King, even if it was Kang Xinmu, he would need to spend at least a month. Moreover, the increase in strength was not very obvious. I'll think about the rest later. When the time is right, it's better to break through to the Dragon Emperor in one go. Even if it takes half a year, it's worth it. As for now, there are other ways to improve my strength faster. If the Dragon Warrior's divine dragon blood essence broke through from the Dragon King to the Dragon Emperor, then the Nirvana beast he encountered would also have a qualitative improvement in strength. Therefore, it was impossible for Kang Xinmu to break through to the Dragon Emperor now. Although it would increase his strength, it would make it almost impossible for him to defeat the second Nirvana beast, and he would lose the opportunity to condense Nirvana energy. If he lost this opportunity, it would mean that he would lose the possibility of becoming stronger for the rest of his life. Therefore, Kang Xinmu must seize this opportunity to become stronger in other aspects. Only then could he safely break through to the level of the divine dragon blood essence of the Dragon Emperor. Imagine, if Kang Xinmu cultivated many high-level origin source dragon martial skills, then his strength would definitely be more than a few times stronger than it was now. By then, it would not matter if he broke through to the Dragon Emperor level, because he could completely defeat the Nirvana beast of that level, or even the second Nirvana beast. In the future, the rebirth energy would also need to be condensed, and the conditions to condense the rebirth energy would be even more stringent. Currently, Kang Xinmu had not come into contact with it, but he knew that he had to first build a good foundation, or else the road ahead would become more and more difficult. The better the foundation, the easier the road ahead would be. High-level origin source dragon martial skills. I already have the Dark Dragon Imperial Filth technique for recovery. I still need to cultivate the body-refining dragon martial skills, attack-type dragon martial skills, body-type dragon martial skills. After cultivating all of them, I will be able to reach the strongest dragon martial skills. Of course, I'm afraid none of the students in the 4 dragon martial academies can achieve this condition. After all, after obtaining the dragon martial skills, I have to cultivate them to the highest heaven grade, especially the high-level origin source dragon martial skills. It is not that easy to cultivate them to the heaven grade. Kang Xinmu sighed. It seemed like he could only take it one step at a time. After spending half a month to raise the grade of his divine dragon blood to the 5th level of the Dragon King, he walked out of his palace, planning to head to the Beast Abyss again. If he had just broken through and returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy, it would still be a little difficult for him to deal with the 4th level Rebirth Tribulation Dragon King and Demon King. But now, he was much more confident in dealing with opponents of this level. This time, Kang Xinmu headed to the Beast Abyss alone. He did not intend to expose some of his secrets to others. Moreover, the Beast Abyss was basically a place that only students of the Dragon Emperor level had the right to visit. As for the Dragon King students, they were basically just followers. It was useless for Kang Xinmu to bring a bunch of Dragon King in. They would only be adding to the trouble. This time, I should earn enough experience points and cultivate the chaotic dragon body to the heaven grade. Kang Xinmu planned to cultivate his only body-refining dragon martial skill, the chaotic dragon body, to the highest level. This would allow his ability to resist attacks to reach a higher level. Chapter 43-74. After Kong Xinmu finished his preparations, he once again headed to the Beast Abyss after a month. Every time a student from the Dragon Martial Academy entered the Beast Abyss, they would arrive at a different location. Last time, Kong Xinmu arrived at the towering ancient forest. This time, he used the Emperor Shi formation to enter the Beast Abyss, and what appeared before him was a beach. It's the ancient Nether Sea path. Kong Xinmu's expression changed. After becoming a student of the Yuheng district and learning about the Beast Abyss, he had specially looked up some information. Only those with the authority of the Yuheng district were qualified to know this information. From this information, he roughly knew the more common areas in the Beast Abyss. First was the towering ancient forest. This was an ancient jungle located in the east of the Beast Abyss. It had a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, and was as vast as the Dragon Emperor country. And in the north of the Beast Abyss was the ancient Nether Sea path. The ancient Nether Sea path was an ancient trade route near the sea. At this moment, the place where Kong Xinmu appeared was the ancient Nether Sea path. On the ancient Nether Sea path, he would not encounter too much danger. But the two sides of the ancient Nether Sea path were the most terrifying places in the entire Beast Abyss. To the north of the ancient Nether Sea path was a vast ocean. It was also the only direction in the Beast Abyss that faced the ocean. The other three directions were said to be blocked by barriers, making it impossible to go out. Only the direction of the ocean was not blocked by a barrier. However, there were countless marine demonic beasts hidden in the Nether Sea. These marine demonic beasts were much stronger than many of the demonic beasts on land. Moreover, they were adept at fighting in water. If a fire attribute dragon martial artist was dragged into the Nether Sea, it would basically be a dead end. Although dragon martial artists were not afraid of water, fire attribute power would definitely be weakened in the water. The direction of the Nether Sea was boundless. There was once a very strong Dragon Emperor student who flew towards the north, but could not find the border. In the end, he fought a fierce battle with a deep-sea demonic emperor and fled back to the Dragon Martial Academy. If not for the fact that dragon martial artists could travel in the Beast Abyss and return to the Dragon Martial Academy at any time, that extremely strong Dragon Emperor student would probably have died in the Nether Sea. This showed how terrifying the Nether Sea was. To the south of the ancient Nether Sea Road was a desert. In other words, the ancient Nether Sea Road was located in the middle of the ocean and desert. This was extremely rare in the outside world. I wonder which side isn't naturally formed, the ocean or the desert? Or could it be that the two terrains were not formed naturally but were created by some sort of power? Kong Xinmu had thought about this problem at that time. He didn't expect to be assigned to the ancient Nether Sea path on his second trip to the Beast Abyss. The ancient Nether Sea path was filled with gravel. Beneath the gravel was an incomparably hard rock stratum. There had been students who tried to dig a hole to create traps, but they found that it was impossible to destroy the incomparably hard rock stratum. Kong Xinmu raised his head, but he couldn't see the border between the ancient Nether Sea Road and the desert. However, the boundary between the Netherworld Sea and the ancient road was very clear. The tides of the sea constantly surged ashore, beating against the hard rock layers of the ancient Netherworld Sea Road like a piece of music, making pitter-patter sounds. It was noon, but in the direction of the ancient Nether Sea Road, the scorching sun shone brightly. In the direction of the Netherworld Sea, the sky was gloomy. Dark clouds covered the sky, stacking on top of each other. Countless dark lightning flashed in the dark clouds, piercing through the layers of dark clouds and shining on the Netherworld Sea, giving off an endless feeling of oppression. In the direction of the Netherworld Sea, only the deep sea has demonic beasts. However, the demonic beasts are very strong. I can't go to the Netherworld Sea to try my luck. Kang Xinmu was very clear about his own capabilities. If he went in the direction of the Netherworld Sea, it would be almost impossible to obtain any benefits. There was even a 90% chance that he would lose his life in the Netherworld Sea. He turned back and looked at the desert under the scorching sun. On the ancient Nether Sea Road, to the north was the Netherworld Sea, while to the south was the Raging Flame Desert. This desert could be said to have no water at all. Water-type dragon martial artists couldn't display much strength in this desert, and their recovery speed was also very slow. In the desert, there were all kinds of demonic beasts, and they all had the bloodlines of those powerful demonic beasts that lived in extreme environments. Some lived under the sand, some lived in the desert, and there were also those demonic beasts that lived in groups that built oases. No matter who encountered them, they would have to run. It's said that there are many dragon martial artists teleported to the ancient Nether Sea Road. However, water and fire martial artists wouldn't be teleported to this place. It seems that the various dragon martial academies are selective when they teleport their students to the Beast Abyss. Kang Xinmu thought to himself. He thought for a while and decided to head in the direction of the desert. Wearing hard cloth shoes, his feet landed on the sand, and he felt a burning sensation. Under the scorching sun, even a grain of sand in the desert could burn through the soles of his shoes. As he walked forward, the scenery in his field of vision was somewhat blurry and unreal. It was because the extreme heat had caused the air to distort. This kind of terrain is disadvantageous to me, but it's not like there's no other way. Kang Xinmu was very clear about the situation he was facing now. Although there were ups and downs in the desert, if one looked down from the sky, everything would be clear at a glance. It was impossible for him to hide and take advantage of the situation, unless he could hide under the sand in the desert. The sand was boiling hot, and it would be extremely difficult for a dragon martial artist of the Dragon King's level to hide in it. They would have to constantly maintain a defensive dragon martial technique by their side, or they would be burned. However, it didn't matter to Kang Xinmu. He had thick skin and flesh, and he had cultivated a body-refining dragon martial technique. This kind of heat wouldn't be able to harm him at all. However, it was said that there were many powerful demonic beasts living under the desert. If he were to accidentally encounter a demon emperor in the desert, Kang Xinmu would be in trouble, and he might not be able to escape even if he wanted to. However, if he were to move on the ground, it would be too conspicuous. Kang Xinmu pondered for a while and decided to hide under the sand in the desert, heading deeper into the Raging Flame Desert. After all, there were many dragon martial artists who had been teleported to this ancient Netherworld Sea Road. He would always be able to encounter something and think of a way to take advantage of it. As soon as he thought of it, he transformed into a pitch-black divine dragon and sneaked into the desert. Below the sand in the ancient Netherworld Sea Road, there was an incomparably hard rock layer. However, after leaving the ancient Netherworld Sea Road and reaching the Raging Flame Desert, there was a very thick layer of scorching desert sand. When Kang Xinmu entered it, the boiling heat almost instantly drowned him. Chapter 43-75. Kang Xinmu withstood the onslaught of the scorching sand as he advanced deeper into the desert. His divine dragon body was like a dragon swimming in shallow waters as he traversed through the desert, burying himself deep in the desert. Perhaps it was because he was too close to the Netherworld Sea, but there was a hint of coldness hidden in the sand. Furthermore, he did not encounter any demonic beasts. Instead, there were some insect-like creatures that were used to living in the scorching hot desert that kept appearing within the range of Kang Xinmu's senses. Although these creatures were called insects, they were actually larger than cows. In the desert, they crawled, rolled, or fought each other. The entire desert was their world. When the black dragon swam past them at high speed, a wave of devouring power naturally spread out and engulfed all these insect-like creatures. They were completely corroded by the devouring power and turned into ashes almost instantly. If these insect-like creatures appeared in the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty, it would probably be a disaster for the entire Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. After all, they were extremely fertile and had strong survival abilities. Any one of them was several times larger than a human. If a non-dragon martial artist encountered them, they would definitely die. They even appeared in groups. A small group could easily devour an earth demon. Even weaker dragon martial artists would become their food. Unfortunately, these insect-like creatures were nothing in front of Kang Xinmu. The devouring power that he casually released could completely devour these insect-like creatures. The devouring power would all be purified and stored, allowing him to recover his own strength at a critical moment. Although it was not much, it was better than nothing. He might just need this bit of power to recover at a critical moment. After all, the number of Yao cores Kang Xinmu had on him was limited. If he encountered a dangerous situation, he would have to make use of any conditions. While devouring the insect-like creatures along the way, Kang Xinmu's main focus was to sense the surrounding environment and prevent any powerful demonic beasts from approaching. I don't see any demonic beasts in the flaming desert. It's like a deathly silent desert. But under this flaming desert, there's actually an independent and rich world like a real ocean. Kang Xinmu was still a little surprised. He had devoured dozens of insect lifeforms along the way. There were even some insect kings that were extremely large, reaching the level of Sky Fae or even Saint Fae. Their strength was not something ordinary insects could compare to. There were many more types of life forms in the desert than Kang Xinmu had imagined. Kang Xinmu would do his best to avoid some saint demons. After all, those saint demon insects already possessed intelligence and thought. Not only were they extremely powerful, but they could also command an entire insect tribe. The number of insects had always been the biggest factor that allowed them to survive in this world. Therefore, if a saint-level insect commanded tens of millions of earth demons and heavenly demons, even the Dragon King would not dare to provoke it. In this desert, it was not uncommon for ants to bite an elephant to death. If it wasn't necessary, Kang Xinmu didn't want to provoke these insects. However, in this desert, Kang Xinmu sensed the existence of many natural treasures. It seemed that some places where heaven and earth spiritual qi gathered, some grains of sand would gather heaven and earth spiritual qi to form a special type of sand. This type of sand was called desert spirit sand. It was a natural treasure unique to the flaming desert in the Beast Abyss. The desert spirit sand contained very dense heaven and earth spiritual qi. According to the quality, it was divided into 4 grades: low grade, mid grade, high grade, and supreme grade. Even if he could only find low-grade desert spirit sand, it would be of great help to dragon practitioners below the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Of course, it wouldn't be of much use to dragon practitioners at the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Along the way, Kang Xinmu sensed the aura of desert spirit sand. They were all low-grade desert spirit sand. Even if Kang Xinmu obtained it, it wouldn't be of much use to him. Instead, if he wanted to obtain low-grade desert spirit sand, he would definitely have to face some relatively large insect groups. Only a powerful group led by a holy demon-level insect leader was qualified to occupy a low-grade desert spirit sand. Moreover, this low-grade desert spirit sand was used by insect leaders to breed and increase the strength of their subordinates. For holy demon-level insect leaders, this low-grade desert spirit sand wasn't of much use. This time, Kang Xinmu naturally wanted to find some mid-grade desert spirit sand. The desert spirit sand contained extremely pure heaven and earth spiritual qi. It was very effective for dragon practitioners to improve their strength. If Kang Xinmu could obtain a supreme-grade desert spirit sand, he would have enough heaven and earth spiritual qi to break through to the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. Of course, supreme-grade desert spirit sand could definitely only be used by top-level demon beasts. Even for dragon practitioners who came to the Beast Abyss to train, they had to be at least a few top-level experts in the Heaven Jade and Heaven's Core districts to have a chance of obtaining supreme-grade desert spirit sand from top-level demon beasts. And for dragon practitioners of this level, if they wanted to increase their cultivation by one level, it wouldn't be a matter of one desert spirit sand. They would need at least dozens of them. Perhaps the entire Raging Flame Desert didn't have that many supreme-grade desert spirit sand, therefore, Kang Xinmu didn't expect to obtain supreme-grade desert spirit sand at all. In fact, when he discovered that he had come to the ancient Nether Sea Road, his goal had never been the desert spirit sand. After all, Kang Xinmu's current focus wasn't on increasing his cultivation, but on increasing his strength. Therefore, what he needed the most were experience points. If he wanted to obtain experience points, he naturally had to kill enough demon beasts and use their demon cores to exchange for experience points. Of course, saint-level insect cores could also be exchanged for a lot of experience points. However, insects usually came in groups, and it would be too difficult for Kang Xinmu to kill them alone. It would be best for him to set his sights on other lone demon beasts. Along the way, Kang Xinmu passed by the territories of several insect groups, but those insect groups couldn't be bothered to deal with him. After all, he also had the Dragon King level Divine Dragon Blood Essence, and his aura was still very strong. The insect groups also knew that they couldn't casually provoke existences like dragon practitioners. Deep into the Raging Flame Desert, Kang Xinmu didn't dare to casually devour the nearby insects, lest he provoked some insect groups that didn't care about their lives. That would be troublesome. Finally, when he was about a few dozen feet away from the surface of the desert, he felt a tyrannical aura exploding in the desert in front of him. At the same time, there were sounds of fierce battle, as if a dragon practitioner and a demon beast had erupted in battle. Let's go take a look. What Kang Xinmu wanted was a chaotic situation. Only in a chaotic situation would he be able to fish in troubled waters. However, the place where the dragon practitioners and demon beasts were fighting was very likely in the sky above the desert. If Kang Xinmu hid in the depths of the desert, he might not be able to take advantage of it. Chapter 4376. Kang Xinmu quickly moved forward. Very quickly, he discovered that the direction of the battle was indeed above the desert. This caused his heart to go cold. He really couldn't interfere in the battle above the desert. But no matter what, he was already here. How could he not try his luck? Kang Xinmu stopped right below the aftermath of the battle. Sensing the intensity of the battle above the desert, he could roughly understand that a battle of that level was not something he could participate in. I'm afraid it's students from the Fekta region hunting demonic beasts, and there's more than one dragon martial artist. That demonic beast is probably at the Demon Emperor level. Kang Xinmu was a little shocked. He could casually encounter a Demon Emperor fighting someone else. This beast abyss was really too dangerous. Hiding below the desert, he sensed that there seemed to be an aura in the desert that was getting weaker and weaker. Under the joint attack of 3 other auras, it was gradually unable to hold on. By the time Kang Xinmu arrived, the other party's battle was already nearing its end. At this moment, suddenly, Kang Xinmu felt that the aura that was getting weaker and weaker was actually rapidly approaching his direction. Jiang Xinwu didn't even have time to react before he felt the gravel above him churning and surging. Following that, his weak aura plunged into the desert. That seemed to be a demon emperor, and it was actually trying to escape. The desert was their base camp, and it was the environment they were most familiar with. When they encountered danger, escaping into the desert was already the instinct of many demonic beasts in the flaming desert. Even demon emperors were no exception. Hiding in the desert, Kang Xinmu didn't move at all, but his heart was already racing. He felt that the weak and heavily injured demon emperor was constantly approaching his direction. Could it be that the heavens want me to take advantage of this again? Kang Xinmu suppressed the excitement in his heart. The situation was still unclear, and it was very likely that he couldn't even defeat the heavily injured Demon Emperor, so he couldn't be too happy too early. As the weak aura of the Demon Emperor got closer and closer, Kang Xinmu was even ready to make a move. But suddenly, the other party seemed to sense Kang Xinmu's presence, and suddenly changed direction. Kang Xinmu did not expect such a situation to occur. After all, he had the ink centipede beast to conceal his presence. Even a demon sovereign should not be able to detect his presence. But now, when the Demon Emperor was still several thousand feet away from him, it changed its direction. He can't sense my presence, but that doesn't mean he can't sense the anomaly in the gravel. Although I'm hiding here and hiding my presence, the shape, temperature, and pressure of the nearby gravel have all changed. This person has been living in the desert all year round, so he must have sensed the presence of a behemoth here. Since the other party was heavily injured, there was no need for him to know what the gigantic thing in front of him was. As long as he felt that something was wrong, he would immediately turn around and run. Since the other party was running, Kang Xinmu naturally had to chase after it. He could sense that the 3 Dragon Emperor students from the Dragon Martial Academy had also fallen into the desert. They each used their defensive dragon martial skills to block the damage from the surrounding high-temperature gravel. After all, they were not like Kang Xinmu, who had cultivated a body-tempering dragon martial skill and could use their physical body to block the high-temperature gravel. Therefore, they could only use their defensive dragon martial skills and maintain them at all times. Kang Xinmu did not want to meet them. He maintained his concealment and went in another direction, chasing after the heavily injured Demon Emperor. Soon, Kang Xinmu arrived at a nest of insects. There used to be a piece of inferior-grade desert spirit sand there, but it had been taken away by the heavily injured Demon Emperor. Kang Xinmu went around the nest of the insects and continued to chase after it. The heavily injured Demon Emperor plundered the desert spirit sand along the way. Although it was not a lot, it was enough to heal its injuries. This made Kang Xinmu secretly pay attention to it. Moreover, the other party was moving in the desert, so it might have some special methods to heal its injuries. If he was not careful, he might be killed by the other party. Kang Xinmu decided not to be too rash. He would wait for the 3 Dragon Emperor students to catch up. Anyway, with his strength, he would take advantage of it. Even if he could not, he would not lose his life. The group chased deeper and deeper into the desert. Kang Xinmu knew the general strength of the other party, but the 3 Dragon Emperor students from the Dragon Martial Academy did not even know of Kang Xinmu's existence. Of course, Kang Xinmu did not know the other party's identity. In the desert, no one could see each other, and they could only sense each other's aura. Unless it was someone who had a very good relationship with them, it was impossible to tell who the other party was. Not long after, Kang Xinmu felt waves of energy fluctuations coming from the desert in front of him. The gravel around him was like the surface of a lake with pebbles thrown into it. Waves of ripples spread outwards. Even with the toughness of his body, he could feel the skin of his divine dragon body being scratched by the scalding gravel. They're fighting again. However, in this desert, even a heavily injured Demon Emperor can erupt with even greater power. Those 3 Dragon Emperor students might not be a match for it. Kang Xinmu thought to himself. He did not plan to go forward. Sensing the ferocious battle in front of him, Jiang Shenwu even carefully retreated, intending to maintain a safe distance. Anyway, with his perception, it was impossible to lose track of the other party. However, he soon felt that the situation was not good. Just as the 3 Dragon Emperor students were suppressing the Demon Emperor again and surrounding it, another Demon Emperor's aura suddenly appeared from the desert beside them. No. It was not just one. There were quite a few of them. Apart from the heavily injured Demon Emperor, the aura of 4 powerful Demon Emperors had appeared at the same time, surrounding the 3 Dragon Emperor students. Oh no! Kang Xinmu did not feel anything. Anyway, he was hidden at the side, and could escape at any time. Currently, no one could discover him. He crouched in the desert, and after thinking for a while, he removed his divine dragon form and returned to the appearance of a black-robed youth. This way, his body was much smaller, and those demon emperors should not be able to find him. After all, compared to the dragon martial artists or demon emperors, he was like an ant hiding in the sand. Who would be so bored to find him? The only problem was that his clothes had been burned by the boiling sand, and very quickly turned into ashes. The temperature in this place was too high, and those clothes could not last long. Chapter 43-77. Kong Shinmu removed his dragon god form and hid in the hot sand. When the aura of the four powerful demon emperors appeared, he could feel that the three dragon emperor students seemed to be a little flustered, and instinctively wanted to escape. They frantically retreated in the direction they had come from. Their speed of escape was top-notch. The opponents had just appeared, but they had already retreated far away, as if they had rehearsed this thousands of times. It could be seen that the three Dragon Emperor students had a lot of adventuring experience. Kong Shinmu hid at the side and sensed that the three Dragon Emperor students had retreated. Then, the four new Demon Emperors chased after them. Previously, it had been the Dragon Emperor students chasing after a Demon Emperor. Now, it was the four Demon Emperors chasing after the three Dragon Emperor students. The situation was completely reversed. At the very least, they had to leave the desert and go to the surface. Only then would the Dragon Emperor students have a chance to fight back. And to be honest, even if they were on the surface, they wouldn't be able to defeat the four Demon Emperors. Demon Emperors were Demon Emperors after all. In terms of bloodline power, they weren't much different from the Dragon Emperor students. Both of them were at the reincarnation realm. In a one-on-one fight, the Dragon Emperor students might be stronger. But now, there were more Demon Emperors. Kong Shinmu didn't think too much about it. He quickly discovered a key point, and his heart raced again. At this time, the four Demon Emperors chased after the three Dragon Emperor students and left. In the depths of the desert, only the heavily injured Demon Emperor was left. It was still in the same place, and seemed to be healing. The surroundings seemed to be empty, without any living creatures. To Kong Shinmu, this was an incomparably huge temptation. I originally didn't have much hope. But now, it seems that my luck is still very good. Without thinking, Kong Shinmu directly attacked in the direction of the heavily injured Demon Emperor. When he neared the Demon Emperor, he didn't transform into a dragon warrior. Only when he was hundreds of feet away from the Demon Emperor did he suddenly transform into a dragon warrior, and the power of the Void Dragon sky-raising break exploded. The silhouettes of 6 black dragons appeared in the depths of the desert. The 4 Demon Emperors and the 3 Dragon Emperor students were now completely far away. They might not even be aware of the battle that had erupted here. Therefore, Kong Shinmu was at ease. The appearance of the Black Dragon Phantom was accompanied by 6 rays of Black Dragon's breath that erupted from the depths of the desert and swept towards the heavily injured demonic beasts. Along the way, the scorching sand was burned to ashes by the Black Dragon breath. Amidst the ashes, Kong Shinmu saw that the Demon Emperor was actually a giant sandworm. Kong Shinmu couldn't see the full appearance of the sandworm Demon Emperor, but its ugly head alone was as enormous as a palace. When the sandworm sensed Kong Shinmu's attack, it reacted almost immediately. It did not expect that there would be a dragon martial artist hiding nearby and attacking it. But, wasn't this attack a little too weak? It was like scratching an itch. The sandworm was extremely disdainful. Although it had no eyes, it could still clearly sense the position of the black dragon that Kong Shinmu had transformed into. Suddenly, an extremely sour and pungent power erupted from the sandworm and swept towards Kong Shinmu. This power came from a demon emperor at the 4th tier of the rebirth tribulation realm. Under normal circumstances, Kong Shinmu would definitely die. But now, the opponent was seriously injured, and the power that he could exert was basically equivalent to that of a demon emperor at the first tier of the rebirth tribulation realm. At this level, Kang Shinmu could still grit his teeth and bear it. Of course, Kang Shinmu did not suddenly appear here just to withstand the opponent's attack. The Shadow Dragon Sky-Raising Strike could not even break through the sandworm's defense. The extremely thick skin of the worm was not something that Kang Shinmu could break through. However, the sandworm's attack was exactly what Kang Shinmu wanted. The next moment, the sour and pungent corrosive power was enveloped by Kang Shinmu's red devouring power. Devour it. Kang Shinmu devoured half of the power. The remaining half of the power bombarded his black dragon body, causing great damage to his black dragon skin and dragon scales. The corrosive power almost burned his divine dragon body into nothingness. Fortunately, Kang Shinmu managed to withstand it in the end. While the opponent's power corroded his divine dragon body, he swallowed 2 heaven demon pills. Coupled with the dark dragon filth resistance, he recovered at a terrifying speed. As he recovered, he was corroded at the same time. The destructive power and defensive power soon reached a certain degree of balance. At the same time, the half of the corrosive power that Kang Shinmu had devoured finally erupted and swept towards the Demon Emperor Sandworm. It came from its own power. Although it had erupted in a weaker state, this kind of corrosive power was almost fatal to the sandworm. It was obvious that the sandworm had used almost all its power to heal its injuries. In addition, it did not expect Kang Shinmu to survive its attack. Hence, it did not expect Kang Shinmu to counterattack. It did not use any defensive measures at all. Most importantly, it did not expect Kang Shinmu to attack it with its own power. The terrifying corrosive power descended, causing the originally coarse and thick skin of the sandworm to rot rapidly. Deep pits appeared one after another on its body. It was already seriously injured, and many parts of its skin were injured. Now that it had encountered Kang Shinmu's unexpected attack, it immediately lost all ability to struggle. A mournful wail came out of the sandworm's mouth. A sour and stinky liquid seeped out of its body and corroded the surrounding sand into ashes. Its cry spread far away. Perhaps the dragon martial artists and demon emperors above the desert could hear it. However, it did not matter to Kang Shinmu. He killed this gravely injured demon emperor-level sandworm and directly took out a demon emperor core from its body. The value of this demon emperor core was definitely not inferior to that of the demon emperor soaring serpent core that he had obtained in the towering ancient forest. Great harvest. Jiang Shenwu quickly left, leaving behind the corpse of the sandworm that had been corroded beyond recognition. It was once again enveloped by the boundless scalding desert and then swallowed up. When the sandworm was still alive, the scalding sand could not affect it at all. But now that it was dead, its body was full of corroded holes. The hot sand seeped in and destroyed its entire body. There was nothing valuable on the body of the sandworm, except for the demon core that Kang Shinmu had taken away. Chapter 4378. The reason why Kang Shinmu had gained so much last time was because he had obtained many demon beast parts that could be used to forge dragon weapons. This time, he would not be so lucky. Of course, obtaining a demon emperor's demon core was already a great harvest. After Kang Shinmu succeeded, he immediately fled from where he was. He did not want to be hunted down by 4 demon emperors and 3 dragon emperor students. Just thinking about it made him feel miserable. He quickly escaped from the place where the sandworm had died and headed deeper into the desert. He turned into a black dragon and shuttled through the desert. His speed was extremely fast, and he soon shook off all the commotion behind him. When he could no longer hear anything, he continued to run for at least 15 kilometers to prevent anyone from catching up. If I want to exchange for a high-grade origin dragon martial skill, I have to collect at least 10 of these demon cores. There's still a long way to go, Kang Shinmu sighed. High-grade origin dragon martial skills were not something that could be found on the streets. Even students who had been in the Dragon Martial Academy for decades might not have cultivated a high-grade origin dragon martial skill. To exchange for an origin dragon martial skill, one would need a vast amount of experience points. If the students of the Yuheng district continued to do missions and did not go to the Beast Abyss, it would take them at least 10 years to accumulate enough experience points to exchange for a high-grade origin dragon martial skill. Furthermore, they could not spend any experience points during these 10 years. With such a high price, it was naturally worth it to exchange for a high-grade origin dragon martial skill. Just look at the Dark Dragon Art of Filth Resistance. Kang Xinmu had cultivated the Dark Dragon Art of Filth Resistance. Even though he had not cultivated it to a very high level, his recovery speed was already comparable to his own devouring power. If he cultivated it to the peak of Heaven tier, his recovery speed would be unimaginable. Together with the body-tempering dragon martial skill that Kang Xinmu cultivated, dragon martial artists of the same tier would not be able to kill him. It would be impossible for them to even injure him. He was fearless as he roamed the skies. If Kang Xinmu could obtain an attack-type dragon origin martial skill, his explosive power would also increase. But to be honest, what Kang Xinmu wanted the most right now was a body-type dragon origin martial skill. Even if he cultivated the attack-type dragon martial technique to its peak, he would still not be able to defeat an opponent that he should not be able to defeat. However, it would be a different story if one cultivated a movement technique that was similar to a dragon's martial technique. This time, when they returned to the Yen Dragon Emperor's court from the Boundary Forest, Ran relied on the origin dragon martial technique, the Wind Death Tornado, to escape from the pursuit of many dragon warriors and demon beasts. The effect was very obvious. It's either a movement technique or a body refinement technique. There aren't many people who cultivate body refinement dragon martial techniques now. The experience points needed to exchange for a high-grade body refinement dragon martial technique might be much less. Let's go back and take a look. If I can exchange for a body refining dragon martial skill, then it would be better to exchange for it as soon as possible. The stronger my divine dragon body is, the stronger my endurance will be, and the more powerful energy I can devour for my own use. Kang Xinmu discovered that even though his fighting style had changed, the aspect that restricted his fighting strength was actually still his defensive ability. The stronger his defense, the stronger his counterattack. This seemed to be much easier and stronger than his previous fighting style. After all, if he was unable to injure his opponent with his previous fighting style, he would not be able to let his devouring power corrode into his opponent's body and devour their flesh and blood essence. It's just that every time I devour an opponent's power, I need to fuse with the Dragon Scar Blood Pendant's power. It's still a little troublesome. If only I could break through to the Rebirth Tribulation realm. This was not something that he was in a hurry to do. Kang Xinmu believed that as long as he improved step by step, the day that he would become an expert would not be too far away. He had just arrived at the ancient Nethersea path and obtained a Demon Emperor's Demon Core, which put him in a good mood. When he reached the deeper parts of the Raging Flame Desert, he discovered that there were more and more powerful existences in this desert. There were too many living creatures in the desert. Near where Kang Xinmu was now, in the depths of the desert, was an area where even the insect groups from before could not survive. This was because once those insects appeared here, there was only one outcome, and that was to become food for other demonic beasts. The Sand Morning Bone Snake, a powerful demonic beast that lived in the desert, wandered through the desert not far from where Kang Xinmu was. Kang Xinmu sensed its existence and heard the constant rustling sound from the Sand Morning Bone Snake's body, but he did not see its body. If he saw its body, Kang Xinmu would probably start running for his life. Now that he sensed the appearance of the Sand Morning Bone Snake, he removed his divine dragon form and hid in the sand. Not long after, the Sand Morning Bone Snake swam past him and slowly disappeared into the distance. Only then did Kang Xinmu heave a sigh of relief. It seems that there are no more dragon warrior students in the vicinity. I won't be able to take advantage of this. This area is filled with demon emperors. It's too dangerous for me. Kang Xinmu sighed. He was still not strong enough. If he had the cultivation of the rebirth tribulation realm, or if he had the blood of a dragon emperor level divine dragon, he believed that he would be able to deal with these early rebirth tribulation realm demon emperors. Unfortunately, he was still a little far from that level. There were no shortcuts to improving one's strength. He could either improve the grade of the divine dragon's blood essence, or improve the dragon martial technique that he cultivated, or improve his cultivation level, or improve his dragon weapon. Kang Xinmu's dragon mark blood pendant had already made a qualitative leap for him. However, he could not improve too much in other aspects at once, so he could only take it slow. With this thought, Kang Xinmu finally prepared to turn back. It seemed that there were no strong Dragon Emperor students in the Raging Flame Desert. He could not take advantage of them even if he wanted to. Moreover, how could it be so coincidental that he would take advantage of them every time? Obtaining a Demon Emperor's Demon Core is already a good harvest. It's equivalent to doing a training mission outside for half a year. The key is that the sandworm's cultivation level is very high. But if I go back like this, it doesn't seem to be of much help to improving my strength. Kang Xinmu thought about it. Could it be that he still had to hunt some saint-level insect leaders in the desert that was closer to the ancient Nethersea path? These saint-level demon insect leaders also had saint-level demon cores in their bodies. They were worth a lot. Demon beasts of that level were just right for the current Kang Xinmu to deal with. However, it was really troublesome to deal with the insect horde. The key was that there were too many of them. At the critical moment, when the insect leaders saw that the situation was not good, they would immediately run away and send their subordinates to intercept Kang Xinmu. There was nothing Kang Xinmu could do. Moreover, Kang Xinmu's current fighting style was more suitable for fighting against experts. For example, when he dealt with the Demon Emperor Sandworm just now, he could directly kill it in one wave. His gains were huge. Unfortunately, this kind of opportunity is too rare. It's rare that I can come to the Beast Abyss. I should go back and kill some saint-level demon insects. Chapter 43-79. On the ancient Nethersea path. Kang Xinmu wandered alone in the desert, wandering in the sea of sand. 7 days had passed, and he had already destroyed 3 insect colonies. Not only did he obtain 3 saint-level demon cores, but he also obtained 2 low-grade desert spirit sand. Compared to the Demon Emperor's demon core he had obtained 7 days ago, this harvest was far too inferior. Unfortunately, with his current strength, even if he encountered some powerful demon kings, he would not be a match for them. He could only find trouble with these insect colonies at the edge of the desert. Insect colonies had a strong reproductive ability. Even if Kang Xinmu killed 99% of them, the remaining insects could quickly replenish their numbers. It was just that for a saint-level leader to appear in a colony, they would need the help of desert spirit sand. And in the desert, desert spirit sand was an extremely valuable resource. Kang Xinmu obtained 2, which was a good harvest. When he returned, he could exchange them for many experience points. Anyway, he was not in a hurry to break through to the next cultivation level. Exchanging them for experience points and then other resources to make himself stronger was the most important thing. In these 7 days, Kang Xinmu noticed that there were a few groups of Dragon Emperor students passing through the desert. One group had just entered the Raging Flame Desert, and another group had just left the desert. They checked their harvest on the ancient Nethersea path, divided it, and left the Beast Abyss together. Among the Dragon Warrior students who came to the Beast Abyss and the ancient Nethersea path, Kang Xinmu could be said to be the weakest. However, his harvest was definitely not the least. In any case, with the Demon Emperor Demon Core in hand, he had already earned more than most of the Dragon Emperor students. Don't think that just because a Dragon Emperor student came to the Beast Abyss, they could easily kill a Demon Emperor and obtain the Demon Core. Just like in the towering ancient forest, Kang Xinmu was able to snatch a Demon Emperor Demon Core from so many people. It could be seen that a Demon Emperor Demon Core was an extremely valuable resource, even for a Dragon Emperor student. It was even more so in the Raging Flame Desert. This time, even if Jiang Shenwu didn't make a move, the 3 students of the Dragon Emperor Academy wouldn't be able to obtain the Sandworm's Beast Core. This sandworm would definitely recover from its injuries by itself and become lively again. So this time, Kang Xinmu did not feel that he had stolen it. He had obtained it with his own strength. 7 days later. Suddenly, Kang Xinmu felt a familiar aura flying over from not too far away. This aura, Kang Xinmu Dragon. He had sensed it before. Jiang Shenwu couldn't be more familiar with this fellow's aura. Previously in the towering ancient forest, he had even devoured the other party's divine dragon blood essence and disguised himself as the other party's aura. He snatched away the demon core of the soaring serpent and framed this guy. This Boulder Fate dragon must be very happy. When Jiang Shenwu sensed this aura, he traveled a short distance towards the depths of the desert. Then, he removed his divine dragon form and hid. His huge body flew over the desert, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. The hot sand in the desert rustled. His enormous body flew over the desert, bringing with it an incomparably heavy sound of the wind, causing the scalding sand in the desert to rustle in the wind. But soon, he realized that the rock dragon had stopped above him. But soon, he found that the Boulder Fate dragon had actually stopped above him. Huh? Why did he stop? Kang Xinmu was a little puzzled. At the same time, he was on guard. Although he was very confident in his concealment skills, what if the rock dragon had really discovered his aura? Of course, Kang Xinmu was sure that the rock dragon did not know that he had impersonated him in the towering ancient forest and stolen the soaring serpent's demon core. But if the rock dragon realized that there was a student from Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy below, he would definitely not be friendly. He could not possibly cooperate with him, right? The 4 Dragon Martial Academies were in a competitive relationship. If they met each other in the Beast Abyss, they would not rest until one of them was dead. It was almost impossible to kill the other party, but they would definitely fight to the death when they met. As for the final result, it did not matter. No matter how bad it was, they could still drive the other party back to the academy from the Beast Abyss and waste a lot of experience points. Just when Kang Xinmu started to be vigilant, he felt the rock dragon in the sky suddenly swooping down toward Kang Xinmu's direction in the desert. At the same time, an extremely heavy earth elemental rock dragon formed a towering mountain and smashed down toward the desert. It really found me? Kang Xinmu's face darkened. He was just about to transform into a dragon and escape into the depths of the desert. But at this moment, he felt that there seemed to be an eerie aura not far above his head that suddenly erupted and attacked the rock dragon in the sky. Huh? Kang Xinmu suddenly froze on the spot. His heart suddenly raced, and he finally realized what had happened. It turned out that from the beginning, there had been a demonic beast that was good at hiding not far above his head. It was probably waiting for an opportunity to attack him. In the end, the demonic beast was discovered by the rock dragon. The rock dragon attacked the demonic beast, and the demonic beast also counterattacked. This is a violent sand scorpion. The violent sand scorpion was very good at hiding and had fatal poison. When Kang Xinmu felt the huge figure above his head, he felt a lingering fear. The rock dragon had come at the right time. It had unintentionally resolved the crisis that Kang Xinmu was in. This violent sand scorpion had the bloodline of a demon king. It was more than 1,000 feet long and was considered small compared to the Dragon King. It also had the cultivation of the 5th tier of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. With such a cultivation level, Kong Shinmu would definitely not be a match for it. Of course, even if the rock dragon had not come and the violent sand scorpion had launched a surprise attack on Kong Shinmu might not have died. After all, his body-tempering dragon technique was very resistant to poison. The violent sand scorpion's strength lay in its poison. Therefore, to Kong Shinmu, a demonic beast that relied on poison was nothing to be afraid of. After the violent sand scorpion rushed out, Kong Shinmu did not act rashly. The rock dragon was able to discover the violent sand scorpion, which meant that its observation skills were quite good. However, the violent sand scorpion was a demon king. It was more than 1,000 feet long and could be said to be a huge creature. Now that Kong Shinmu had removed his divine dragon form, he was like an ant. The possibility of the rock dragon discovering him was not high. Sure enough, after the rock dragon easily killed the violent sand scorpion and took the demon king's demon core in its body, it flew straight into the depths of the scorching desert. It did not expect that Kong Shinmu was still hiding under the sea of sand. I didn't expect the rock dragon to solve a problem for me. Kong Shinmu felt that it was a bit of a coincidence. It must have been difficult for the rock dragon to save an enemy. To the rock dragon, Kong Shinmu could be said to be an enemy. The rock dragon had disguised himself as Kong Shinmu, snatched the demon core of the soaring serpent demon emperor in the towering ancient forest and framed him. Chapter 4380. Unfortunately, apart from Kong Shinmu himself, the only person who knew about this was the Dragon Emperor from Emperor Xi's Dragon Martial Academy Experience Points Exchange Office. Naturally, the Dragon Emperor would not tell anyone about this. Luckily, the Boulder Fate Dragon did not come looking for me. Kong Shinmu heaved a sigh of relief. Now that he was in the Beast Abyss, he would not be able to defeat any other students from the Dragon Martial Academy if he were to hide. It was a terrible feeling. However, in order to obtain cultivation resources as soon as possible, the Beast Abyss was the most efficient. Even when he was unlucky, the speed at which he obtained experience points was faster than completing missions in the outside world. In the Beast Abyss, all he had to do was hunt demonic beasts. In the outside world, the experience quests accepted were different every time. They needed to go to different places, and the types of experience quests were also different. It was not as simple and crude. Correspondingly, more time would be spent on thinking, and the efficiency would be lower. For example, Kong Shinmu only had to focus on hunting demonic beasts in the flaming desert, and demonic beasts were everywhere in the desert. He did not need to spend time looking for them, nor did he need to keep going back and forth. He could directly kill those demonic beasts and obtain their demon cores, which he could exchange for enough experience points when he returned. Of course, the Dragon Martial Academy had set up the Beast Abyss to train the students. Therefore, the amount of experience points that could be exchanged for the demon cores of demonic beasts in the Beast Abyss depended on the area the students were in. If they only met the minimum requirement to enter the Beast Abyss, students from the Yuheng district could exchange their demon cores for experience points as long as they killed demonic beasts that were at the level of Saint Demon. If they were at the level of the Dragon Emperor, or students who cultivated in the Migres district or above, killing Saint Demon would not be counted as experience points. This was because it was too easy for them. If they did not consider the factor of energy consumption, they could kill hundreds of demonic beasts in a day. Therefore, there was no point in judging. Naturally, the reward for the strong hunting the weak was less. For example, the Boulder Fate Dragon had already reached the level of the Dragon Emperor, and was at least a student in the Migres district. Killing the Fiend Desert Scorpion, which was at the level of a Demon King, did not bring him much profit. Even if he brought the Fiend Desert Scorpion's Fiend Core back to the Dragon Martial Academy, he would not be able to exchange it for all his experience points. Therefore, the Dragon Martial Academy was actually encouraging the Dragon Martial Artist students to challenge stronger demonic beasts and accumulate more battle experience. After the Boulder Fate Dragon left, Kang Shinmu continued to move about in the desert, hunting demonic beasts at the saint level. Occasionally, he would encounter some demonic beasts at the 3rd and 4th level of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm at the Demon King level. Once he encountered such a demonic beast, Kang Shinmu's first reaction was, of course, to run away. However, it wasn't that he didn't have a strategy for running away. He first pretended to escape, and then used the method of devouring the opponent's strength to catch them off guard and severely injure them. Kang Shinmu had learned his lesson. He only swallowed half of his opponent's attack power. This way, the backlash he had to endure would be much weaker. Moreover, even if he only swallowed half of his opponent's attack power, he would still be able to catch them off guard and severely injure them. Kang Shinmu could be said to be getting more and more courageous as he fought. The various dragon martial techniques that he cultivated had not reached the highest heaven level, but now, they were all breaking through to a higher level. The one that changed the most was the Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique. Kang Shinmu had never experienced such a long continuous battle. In this scorching desert, he had almost no time to rest. It could be said that he was fighting all day long. Many times, he was even in the midst of extremely intense battles. Under such circumstances, Kang Shinmu's mastery of the Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique became more and more proficient. He had originally cultivated this high-grade origin dragon martial technique to the earth level. However, as he battled for more than half a month in the scorching desert, his Dark Dragon Filth mastery was finally breaking through to the dragon grade. Finally, on the 28th day after he entered the Beast Abyss, the Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique that he cultivated had broken through from the earth level to the dragon level during his almost non-stop battles. This could be said to be a qualitative leap. The Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique that had reached the dragon level gave Kang Shinmu a recovery speed that was twice as fast as before. Most importantly, this recovery speed was not only for healing injuries, but also for his own energy consumption. Kang Shinmu's devouring power, which had merged with the power of the Dragonmark Blood Pendant, was being consumed at an extremely fast rate. Every time he killed a Demon King, his devouring power would be almost depleted. Now that his Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique had reached the dragon level, his recovery speed had more than doubled. In a battle, the speed at which one's strength recovered determined the outcome of the battle. The Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique has reached the dragon level. Kang Shinmu gave it a try. He felt that he could almost kill 3 demon kings that were around the 3rd level of the Samsara realm. If he was at the 4th level, he could also kill his opponent in one go. He did not need to use any additional techniques like before, which was much more convenient. It was a pity that the Dark Dragon Inferiority Technique could not increase his combat strength. Originally, he could barely deal with demon kings that were at the 4th level of the Samsara realm. Now, he could only deal with existences of this level. If he encountered existences that were stronger, he could only run. I've been in the Beast Abyss for a month. I've gained quite a lot this month. I've obtained a total of 7 Demon Kings demonic cores and 9 Demon Sacred level demonic cores. I can exchange them for quite a lot of experience points. However, these demonic cores added together cannot be compared to the Sandworm's Demon Sovereign demonic core. It's a pity that I haven't encountered any good opportunities for me to take advantage of them after such a long time. However, in this month, I've gained a lot of combat experience. Although it's only combat experience with demonic beasts, the ability to deal with demonic beasts is also a form of strength. Kang Shinmu finally returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy 1 month after entering the Beast Abyss with anticipation and many rewards. Kang Shinmu returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. This time, he planned to use all of the experience points he had obtained to exchange for some natural treasures and cultivate his chaotic dragon body. This dragon origin body refinement technique was only a low-tier origin skill. However, if he cultivated it to the peak of the heaven tier, the increase in Kang Shinmu's strength would be quite obvious. Furthermore, if he cultivated it to the peak of the heaven tier, Kang Shinmu could describe it and pass it on to Ran Ran. Right now, Ran Ran wanted to cultivate a dragon origin body refinement technique, but she did not have enough experience points yet. Chapter 43-81. As Kang Shinmu walked out of the experience points exchange office, he felt a pang of heartache. After working hard for a month, the experience points he had earned were all used up after exchanging them for heavenly treasures of various attributes. He didn't even have enough to exchange for cultivation resources. However, after exchanging for these treasures of various attributes, he could work hard and try to cultivate the chaotic dragon body to the heaven tier. Although the cost was a little high, as long as he succeeded, the effects would be pretty good. If the chaotic dragon body was cultivated to the heaven tier, Kang Shinmu's physical resistance would be stronger, allowing him to withstand more of the backlash from devouring. This would also increase the limit of his victory. The cultivation of the chaotic dragon body was a little boring. Especially the process from the dragon tier to the heaven tier. It was to constantly devour treasures of various attributes and then integrate them into one's divine dragon body. Like other body-tempering dragon-type martial techniques, one had to maintain a state of constant injuries when cultivating. This way, the cultivation effect would be better and the cultivation speed would be faster. It was just that the process was slightly more painful. Of course, this was only for others. To Kang Shinmu, getting injured was a common occurrence. Even if he was on the verge of death, he could use the devouring power and the dark dragon infertility spell to quickly pull himself back. Kang Shinmu was already used to the pain he had to endure. In Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, Kang Shinmu did not know any other students with similar cultivation realms. He thought about it and went to look for the Laughing Flower. He wanted the Laughing Flower to continuously attack him and maintain a state of serious injuries so that he could cultivate the chaotic dragon body faster. Unfortunately, the Laughing Flower was not around recently. In the end, Kang Shinmu only found the girl in the white dress. He heard the Laughing Flower and the surrounding people call her Xiao Bai. As for what her name was, Kang Shinmu did not know. Fortunately, when they went to the war together to train, she and Kang Shinmu got to know each other. The girl in the white dress did not refuse and agreed to help Kang Shinmu cultivate this body-tempering dragon-type martial technique. Perhaps she was a little curious in her heart. After all, she had never seen anyone cultivate a body-tempering dragon-type martial technique. Moreover, Kang Shinmu's strength and speed of improvement had exceeded her expectations. Therefore, she wanted to see how Kang Shinmu cultivated from a closer distance. Inside Kang Shinmu's palace. The girl in the white dress arrived quietly. The palace was quiet. She followed Kang Shinmu all the way to the side courtyard of the palace. In the entire palace, this side courtyard was the largest. It was the most suitable place for dragon martial artist students to practice their dragon martial techniques. You're here. I'll have to trouble you for the next few days. Kang Shinmu, who was dressed in black, appeared in front of the girl in the white dress. He smiled at her and said, "Do you still remember your heaven-shattering ice slash? That move is very powerful. Just attack me with your full strength. As long as I don't die, it's fine." In Kang Shinmu's opinion, it was basically impossible for the girl in the white dress to kill Kang Shinmu. After all, the girl in the white dress was a dragon king at the 9th stage of the Nirvana Tribulation realm. As for Kang Shinmu, he had been dealing with Rebirth Tribulation realm existences recently. He had even gotten used to the Rebirth force. Even the stronger peak of the 9th stage of the Nirvana Tribulation realm wouldn't be able to kill Kang Shinmu in one blow. As long as she didn't kill Kang Shinmu, it would be fine if she could severely injure him. This would allow his chaotic dragon body to cultivate at the fastest speed. The girl in the white dress was a man of few words. All along, she would only say a few words when she was with Xiao Yuhua. Now, in front of Kang Xinmu, the girl in the white dress rarely spoke. When Kang Xinmu was ready and signaled her to start, she didn't say much. She directly transformed into her ice attribute divine dragon body and slashed down with the ice-splitting sky slash. Kang Xinmu transformed into a pitch-black divine dragon and stayed motionless on the spot, allowing the girl's ice-splitting sky slash to land on him. As she was only helping him cultivate, the girl in the white dress didn't attack Kang Xinmu's vital points. Even if he suffered serious injuries, he wouldn't die. However, although these places weren't vital points, they still brought extreme pain to Kang Xinmu when they were continuously slashed by the ice-splitting sky slash. The girl in the white dress's power was a little special. It was like a bone-piercing cold. It was colder than anyone that Kang Xinmu had encountered before. Originally, Kang Xinmu thought that Shi Yueying's 5 extremes mysterious ice power was already the peak of ice attribute power. But from the looks of it now, it was still far from it. After the girl in the white dress's power descended, it seeped into Kang Xinmu's body. It made him feel as though he had fallen into an ice cave. It was as though he was in an ice cellar. Even moving his divine dragon claws was a little difficult. Especially when the power of the ice-splitting sky slash invaded Kang Xinmu's body completely, it caused the devouring power in his body to show signs of freezing. Fortunately, the girl in the white dress's power wasn't too strong at the moment. Kang Xinmu could still withstand it. If she enters the rebirth tribulation realm, or if her divine dragon blood essence reaches the level of Dragon Emperor, how strong would she be? I'm afraid she would be able to freeze opponents weaker than her into ice sculptures and smash them instantly. Kang Xinmu couldn't help but sigh. However, he didn't have too much time to think about others at this moment. Because when the girl in the white dress's nirvana power of extreme frost invaded Kang Xinmu's body, Kang Xinmu immediately started devouring the treasures of various attributes that he had exchanged. The effects of these treasures were all devoured by Kang Xinmu into his body. He then used the effects of these treasures to heal his injuries and condense his divine dragon body at the same time. Kang Xinmu's black dragon body was paralyzed in the side courtyard of his palace, being corroded by the endless power of frost. The entire courtyard seemed to have turned into an ice cellar. Kang Xinmu felt very uncomfortable. However, looking at the girl in the white dress, she seemed to be used to such an extremely cold environment. He wondered what kind of environment she usually cultivated in. However, anyone who could become a dragon martial artist in the Dragon Martial Academy would definitely have something special about them. They would be different from ordinary people. Even if the 4 Dragon Martial Academies were added together, there were only so many students. Under normal circumstances, each Dragon Martial Academy would only recruit 1 or 2 students every year. Under such harsh conditions, geniuses who could become students of the Dragon Martial Academy naturally had something special about them. For example, the girl in the white dress in front of him was able to unleash the power of frost to the extreme. Even the Dragon Emperor of the Frosty North could not compare to her in terms of understanding the power of frost. That was what made her special. Kang Xinmu was surrounded by the power of frost and felt like he was in an ice cellar. Although he wasn't dead yet, he was very close to death under her continuous attacks. Moreover, the power of frost did not cause any loss of dragon blood after injuring Kang Xinmu. This was also beneficial to Kang Xinmu's cultivation. Chapter 4382. After 3 days, the white-dressed young lady was a little surprised. She originally thought that she would not need to spend much energy to help Kang Xinmu cultivate, but she quickly realized that even if she used all her strength, Kang Xinmu was not afraid of her at all. Under the extreme cold, Kang Xinmu was actually able to persevere for such a long time. It was really out of the white-dressed young lady's expectations. Especially when she saw Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body being continuously slashed by her ice-splitting heaven-breaking slash. The extreme cold energy had almost penetrated into Kang Shinmu's bone marrow, but Kang Shinmu did not make a sound, as though the one who was injured was not him. The white-dressed young lady had a new understanding of Kang Shinmu's tenacity. This fellow was simply not human. Even if others had Kang Shinmu's fast recovery ability, it was impossible for them to use this kind of self-mutilation method to cultivate dragon martial skills. This kind of cultivation method, although the speed and effect was not bad, but wasn't it too torturous for themselves? In any case, the white-dressed young lady looked at Kang Shinmu's miserable look and thought that he would definitely not be able to bear it. The key was that the pain of struggling for a long time was too terrible. Kang Shinmu, this fellow seemed to have cultivated a variety of body-tempering dragon martial skills. Could it be that he had cultivated all the way up? Originally, the white-dressed young lady was a little puzzled as she felt that Kang Shinmu's innate talent was too overbearing. Such a strong devouring power, anyone who possessed this kind of devouring power would be able to walk to the peak. But now she realized that she had really underestimated Kang Shinmu. Kang Shinmu's true strength did not lie in his innate talent but in his unswerving willpower. Even if he did not have an innate talent like devouring power, with such willpower, he would still be able to rise. At most, he would not be able to be as dazzling as he was now. The true rise of a genius dragon martial artist was inseparable from innate talent and hard work. The white-dressed young lady admitted that she had underestimated Kang Shinmu. Especially in the following period of time, Kang Shinmu did not even groan in pain. Just like that, under her attacks, he remained in a heavily injured state. Under the corrosion of the power of extreme cold, Kang Shinmu's sense of pain became less sensitive, but for a dragon martial artist, this feeling of not being able to feel anything was the most painful. One must know that the cultivation of dragon warriors required them to have a thorough understanding of themselves. Maintaining sharp senses was the norm for almost all dragon martial artists. But now, Kang Shinmu's perception had been frozen by the power of extreme cold, becoming somewhat sluggish. In this case, even if I successfully cultivate the chaotic dragon body to the heaven grade, I will still need some time to recover my senses. This girl's power of extreme cold is too domineering. I really can't stand being in this state all the time. If it had been a little longer, Kang Shinmu might really not have been able to bear it. Fortunately, a short 7 days had passed, and Kang Shinmu had maintained this state of being heavily injured at all times, constantly alternating between recovering and being heavily injured. At the same time, he had devoured and absorbed various heaven and earth treasures and integrated them into his own black dragon body. The value of these heaven and earth treasures added together was equivalent to the experience points that a Yuheng District Dragon martial arts student could obtain by busying himself with a year's worth of experience points. Kang Shinmu had gained so much in a short month in the Beast Abyss. This shocked the Dragon Emperor at the exchange office of experience points once again. Once was a coincidence, but twice meant that there was something up his sleeves. This young man, Kang Shinmu, had made the Dragon Emperor look at him in a different light. The effects of exchanging for heaven and earth treasures with a sea of experience points were naturally excellent. Especially when the girl in white helped Kang Shinmu cultivate together. In a short 7 days' time, Kang Shinmu finally cultivated the chaotic dragon body, this original body-tempering dragon-type martial technique, to the peak, reaching the heaven rank. When Kang Shinmu's chaotic dragon body reached the large success stage, the girl in white immediately felt that he was different. Originally, it was still relatively easy for her ice-splitting heaven-splitting slash to cut through Kang Shinmu's defense and could easily injure him. However, when Kang Shinmu's chaotic dragon body reached the large success stage after 7 days, the girl in white's ice-splitting heaven-splitting slash was actually unable to directly cut through the surface of Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body. In other words, if she just attacked casually, it would be very difficult for her to even injure Kang Shinmu. Especially that kind of extreme cold attribute talent. Originally, it could easily invade Kang Shinmu's body, but now, it was like there was an invisible layer of barrier, blocking all the cold outside. It's not just this kind of extreme cold energy. Jiang Shenwu could feel the extreme cold aura that was repelled by his divine dragon body, and he could also feel the injuries that were rapidly recovering in his body. He was very clear that the current him had reached a whole new level of defense. Not only the ice attribute, but there were also other attributes like the stars, like the wind, like the fire. To Kang Shinmu, all the other attributes seemed to have suddenly become much weaker. All the talents in the world had a certain attribute. Speaking of which, it was strange that Kang Shinmu still did not know which attribute his devouring talent belonged to. This attribute was too strange. While it amazed people, it also made people very afraid. Chaotic Dragon Body, Heaven Rank. Peak. I have put in too much effort to cultivate to this level, but today, this body-tempering dragon-type martial technique has finally reached the peak. Kang Shinmu finally heaved a sigh of relief. When his chaotic dragon body reached the peak, his originally heavily injured body began to recover rapidly. During this period, his dark dragon filth controlling technique had also made good progress. Of course, there was still a long way to go before he reached the peak of heaven rank. After all, his dark dragon filth controlling technique had just broken through to dragon rank not long ago. If he wanted to continue breaking through, it would not be that easy. As Kang Shinmu's injuries gradually recovered, the girl in the white dress felt a little emotional. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. To her, her proficiency in the ice-splitting sky-breaking slash had increased significantly. More importantly, her control of her own strength had also deepened. After all, there were very few live targets like Kang Shinmu who could make her attack him non-stop like this. Under the continuous attacks, the girl in the white dress also discovered the weakness of her explosive strength. As her proficiency in controlling her strength increased, the strength she could unleash became stronger and stronger. Over the course of these 7 days, her strength had also improved. However, compared to Kang Shinmu's improvement, her strength was still a little lacking. She could clearly feel that although it was just a breakthrough in a body-tempering dragon-type martial technique, it was like a qualitative leap for Kang Shinmu. It allowed him to face even stronger opponents. This was an indescribable feeling. The girl in the white dress always felt that there was a huge gap between her and Kang Shinmu. Originally, she might have been able to seriously injure Kang Shinmu in a life-and-death battle. But now, it was no longer that easy for her to injure Kang Shinmu. She felt a little depressed at the thought of this. However, what she did not know was that there were not many Dragon King who could injure Kang Shinmu in the Nirvana Tribulation realm. The girl in the white dress was one of them. After withdrawing his aura, Kang Shinmu removed his divine dragon form and walked in front of the girl in the white dress. Just as he was about to thank her, a familiar and crisp female voice suddenly came from outside the palace. Kang Shinmu, Xiao Bai, it's been 7 days. Why aren't the two of you coming out? Why are you so intimate? This voice naturally came from Xiao Yuhua. Previously, Kang Shinmu wanted to ask her for help. However, she was not around, so he could only look for the girl in the white dress. Chapter 4383. What nonsense are you talking about? The white-dressed girl's voice turned cold as she snorted and walked out of the door. Sure enough, she saw Laughing Flower teasing her. Alright, I won't joke with you guys anymore. Laughing Flower was wearing a red dress. Her entire person gave off a bright and moving feeling. Her style had always been so lovable. When she saw Kang Shinmu walking out of the palace, her eyes immediately lit up. She could clearly feel that Kang Shinmu had become stronger. As for how strong he had become, she wasn't sure. But overall, it wouldn't be any smaller than her advancement this time. She had broken through to the peak of the 9th stage of the Nirvana tribulation realm. Her strength had increased sharply compared to before. But looking at Kang Xinmu's current state, it seemed that he had improved even more than her. She didn't dwell on it and went straight to the point. The previous battle experience has ended. The Frost Dragon Emperor repelled the invaders from the Thunderbolt Dragon Nation. It is said that the strongest student of our Emperor Shi Academy, Feng Ligay, made a move and heavily injured the 2 Dragon Emperor from the Thunderbolt Dragon Nation. Fighting 1 against 2 and heavily injuring them, his strength is too strong. The moment he made a move, the Thunderbolt Dragon Nation immediately retreated and announced that they would never invade the Frost Dragon Emperor again. Since this matter has ended, as participants, we also received a portion of the rewards. Kang Xinmu, Xiao Bai, the 3 of us aren't strong, but this time, we have contributed quite a bit. Because the patrol commander that Kang Xinmu killed was the most important source of information for the Thunderbolt Dragon Nation. After that guy died, the Thunderbolt Dragon Nation's overall situation took a turn for the worse. They were suppressed by the Frost Dragon Emperor. Therefore, we received quite a lot of experience points. Of course, this isn't the main reason why I'm here today. The main reason is that a special mission appeared on the Experience Stone tablet today. As long as you are a student of the Dragon Martial Academy, you can participate. Xiao Yuhua continued, it said that there is a crack in the void in our martial dragon continent. Many demonic creatures are coming out from this crack. These demonic creatures are very strong and are currently blocked outside the martial dragon continent, but, all in all, it's just asking us to kill these monsters. I've taken a look, and the rewards are very generous. A void fissure. Demons had appeared. When Kang Xinmu heard this, his expression didn't change. He just frowned slightly and asked, do you know the approximate strength of these demons? Moreover, from the sounds of it, there's a huge number of devils. I'm afraid we won't be able to deal with them with just the students of Dragon Force Academy. Of course, we're not the main force against the demons. Laughing Flower smiled and said, I heard that our dean, many of the Dragon Emperor's instructors, and Feng Ligay and the others have all gone. However, they're really going to fight the demons head-on. As for us who haven't reached the Dragon Emperor's level, or students who haven't reached the Migres district's level, we're just going to experience it. It seems like the dean and the others aren't able to capture the weaker demons, so they want us to try hunting them. After all, these demons have a different fighting style from dragon warriors and demonic beasts. It'll be a bit difficult and uncomfortable to hunt them. We can challenge the difficulty. The more demons we kill, the more experience points we'll get in the end. I think this is our chance. In any case, our opponents won't be directly facing the demons coming out from the void fissure, but the captive demons captured by the dean and the others. This news made Kang Xinmu quite interested. This kind of challenging mission wasn't too dangerous, so it was just right for him. In any case, his current battle strength was very high, so he believed that the results of this challenge wouldn't disappoint him. The girl in the white dress was also quite interested in this matter. After that, the 3 of them went to the training steel together. They discovered that there were actually more than 10 people gathered around the steel, discussing something in groups of 2s and 3s. Kang Xinmu listened for a bit. It was probably related to the demons coming out of the void fissure this time. This matter wasn't kept a secret from the students, so almost all of them would know as long as they came near the training steel. Compared to the Beast Abyss, the invasion of demons in the void fissure this time was more relevant to ordinary students. After all, most of the students in the Dragon Martial Academy were below the Alioth district. I have a friend's aunt who's an instructor in Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. There seems to be news that the 4 great Dragon Martial Academies are going to increase their investment. It's mainly about the Dragon Mark's energy. I think they're going to increase the number of people in each cultivation area. Originally, only 3 people were allowed to enter the Tianshu district, but after the increase, it's going to reach 7 people. Doesn't that mean more than double the number? That's right, and it's not just the Tianshu district. The Tianxian district, Jianji district, and Migres district will also increase the number of people. What about the Kaiyang district? I'm only concerned about whether I can leave the Alcade district. I've already stayed there for 10 years. The number of people will also increase. Kang Xinmu overheard all of these conversations. Most importantly, they didn't avoid anyone when they were talking, so it didn't matter if others heard them. This made Kang Xinmu a little surprised. The current scale of dragon mark energy in the 4 great dragon martial academies should be fixed. Now that they were increasing the number of people in each cultivation area, could it be that more dragon mark energy would be provided? If that was the case, the speed at which the Dragon Martial Academy students could increase the grade of their divine dragon blood essence would greatly increase. Of course, even if many students had enough dragon mark energy, they wouldn't be able to break through the Dragon Emperor level and reach the level of a super divine dragon. However, even if they were able to break through at the Dragon Emperor level, their battle strength would still increase by a lot. Why is there such a sudden change? It's obvious that the higher-ups want our Dragon Martial Academy students to improve quickly, but what's their goal? Could it be that the higher-ups need more middle-level strength to do something for them? Or could it be that there's a powerful enemy invading and they urgently need more middle-level strength? This way, they wouldn't be able to nurture many top-level experts, but they would be able to increase the number of middle-level experts. The strongest students in their academies, such as Yu Tianchang from Donghuang Yanwu Academy and Feng Ligay from Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy, wouldn't be able to obtain many benefits. However, to the other students, almost everyone would benefit from this, and the rate at which they could increase the grade of their divine dragon blood essence would increase by a lot. Of course, Kang Xinmu's current level was still too low, so he couldn't figure out the intentions of the higher-ups. To him, the most important thing was to become stronger, and the invasion of the demonic creatures in the void was an opportunity for him. He wasn't a match for powerful demonic creatures, but as long as he could kill some of them, he would be able to obtain experience points. This was too easy. Chapter 43-84. Xiao Yuhua came before the experienced stone tablet and said in a low voice, "It is said that even the weakest void demon is comparable to our Yuheng district students. Students from Kaiyang district and Yaoguang district do not have the right to participate, but they can form teams and accept the mission, which is to work together to resist the attacks of the void demons. The stronger the attacks, the more times they resist, the more experience points they can get. As for us students who have reached Yuheng district, our mission is to kill void demon captives. The more we kill, the stronger the void demon captives we kill, the more experience points we get." Such rules did not seem like much on the surface, but it still made Kang Xinmu nervous. From the looks of it, those void demons weren't weak. The weakest had the strength of Yuheng district, and it was clear that the dean and the rest were facing a lot of pressure. And Kang Xinmu was also considering whether he should accept the mission alone, or form a team. It had to be said that his current strength was at most above the Yuheng district students, and could barely match the standards of the Migres district students. If he really went alone to kill the void demons, there might be some accidents. As for whether he would be killed, Kang Xinmu was not worried, as he had very strong survival skills. But it was hard to say if he could kill the void demons. After all, his attack power depended on the opponent's attack. "Let's form a team and go." Kang Xinmu thought for a while, and decided to go with Xiao Yuhua and the girl in white. His attack power was weaker, and he could not use the Dragon's Car blood pendant to fuse with the devouring power every time to devour the opponent's power for his own use. As for Xiao Yuhua and the girl in white, the two girls were not weak, and their attack power was even more outstanding. In Kang Xinmu's opinion, they should work well with him. He would take the role of a meat shield, and the two girls would be responsible for attacking. This way, it would definitely be easier to hunt the void demons in a team. In a team of 3, the difficulty will increase. Xiao Yuhua looked at Kong Shinmu, then smiled and said, "But with your cooperation, we can indeed challenge more difficult and stronger void demons. Furthermore, I heard that this training mission is jointly organized by the 4 great dragon martial academies. The Dean and the others have captured some weaker void demonic creatures. They didn't have the time to make arrangements, so they're all gathered together. Therefore, the other students from the Dragon Martial Academy will be there as well." As he spoke, Xiao Yuhua, the white-dressed girl, and many of the surrounding students all looked at Kong Shinmu curiously. After all, Kong Shinmu came from Donghuang Yangwu College, so he must have a better understanding of the situation in Donghuang Yangwu College. As for the others, aside from the academy exchange that happened once every 10 years, they would rarely meet other students from the Dragon Martial Academy. Of course, students who had reached the Migres zone would head to the Beast Abyss more frequently, and these students were an exception. However, students from the Migres district and above were in the minority. Most of them were students from the Alcade district. They weren't strong enough, and didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the academy exchange that happened once every 10 years. They could only watch. Therefore, Kong Shinmu, who came from Donghuang Yangwu College, became the target of their curiosity. However, Kong Shinmu didn't care about the gazes of the surrounding students. Instead, he thought about the various things that happened in Donghuang Yangwu College. He wondered how the current Donghuang Yangwu College had developed. His old friends, Qin Fengyu, Lu Hua, Liang Luo, Chu Yi, Luo Han, Su Qin. He wondered how their cultivation was going. They would definitely participate in the training mission against the void demonic creatures, right? I didn't expect to meet them again so soon. Kong Shinmu was a little emotional. He originally thought that he would have to wait until the academy exchange that happened once every 10 years to meet his old friends. He didn't expect to have the chance to meet them again so soon. Then let's form a team of 3. The difficulty will be higher than solo training, and will be assigned stronger void demonic creatures. But with Kong Shinmu around, I believe we can handle them. Xiao Yuhua smiled at the girl in the white dress. You've been with him for so many days, you should understand his current strength better. You should be fine with it, right? The girl in the white dress nodded cutely. Let's go together. She was now quite convinced of Kong Shinmu's strength. Not to mention anything else, just the fact that he could withstand her attacks for so long without dying was already a miracle. At the very least, if she were to fight against Kong Shinmu, she didn't have the slightest confidence that she could beat Kong Shinmu. Before we go, I want to wait for someone. Kong Shinmu said after some consideration. You want to wait for Ran Ran to return? Xiao Yuhua pursed her lips and smiled. Yes, she accepted a training mission 4 days ago and went out. She should be back soon. I heard that kid Liang Xiao has been waiting for her to come back, and then ask her to form a team to deal with the monsters. You don't know, but Ran Ran is quite popular among the students in the Alcade district. The main thing is that her recovery speed is very fast. If we form a team with her to deal with the monsters, she should be able to block most of the attacks. It's very reassuring. Kong Shinmu couldn't help but purse his lips when he heard this. Right now, Ran Ran seemed to have a fast recovery speed. There was nothing wrong with that, but her defense was too weak. If she met an opponent that was too strong, she could be killed in an instant. When she comes back, I still have to wait for 3 days. Jiang Shenwu glanced at the experienced stone steel and saw that the demon hunting mission didn't have a time limit. It should be quite long, at least not 3 days. Jiang Shenwu looked at the experienced stone steel. Then, why don't we try it first? Xiao Yuhua didn't need to wait with Kong Shinmu, so she wanted to go take a look with the girl in the white dress first. This training mission seems to last for a month. After a month, the reward will be calculated according to the difficulty of the challenge. Let's go take a look first. We can challenge together when you come back. Okay. Kang Xinmu nodded. It was good for them to go take a look first. At least after they were more familiar with the situation, they wouldn't blindly challenge the target. As for Kang Xinmu, he had to wait for Ran Ran to return. Of course, he had to pass on the Chaos Dragon body to her, or at least let her cultivate it successfully. No matter who she wanted to form a team with, no matter what difficulty she wanted to challenge, after cultivating the Chaos Dragon body, her defense would definitely become stronger, and she would get better results. Xiao Yuhua said that this training mission would last for a month, so there was still a lot of time left. Shortly after, Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl set off first and teleported away through the Emperor Shi formation. Chapter 43-85. The last time Ran Ran came back, Kang Xinmu was cultivating with the girl in the white dress in the palace. Therefore, Ran Ran did not disturb them. However, this time, Kang Xinmu was waiting for her to come back. Ran Ran, this is the body-refining dragon-type martial technique, chaotic dragon body. You can cultivate it. Kang Xinmu told her directly at the entrance of the palace, but I don't have any experience points left. If you need cultivation resources, you have to get them yourself. Kang Xinmu was not her babysitter. It was impossible for him to prepare everything for her. The materials needed to cultivate chaotic dragon body were not expensive in the early stages. Previously, Kang Xinmu did not spend much on cultivation. The main thing was to cultivate to the dragon level and heaven level, which required slightly more materials. Yes, I have my own experience points. Ran Ran nodded cutely and happily took the chaotic dragon body cultivation manual from Kang Xinmu. This was the cultivation manual that Kang Xinmu could only conclude after he cultivated chaotic dragon body to the heaven level. Before that, he could not write out the complete cultivation method of chaotic dragon body. Recently, Ran Ran had been working hard to earn experience points. She planned to exchange for another body-refining dragon-type martial technique. Unfortunately, when she first exchanged for this when she first entered Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, she used it on the source of body dragon body, Wind Death Tornado. If she wanted to exchange for another source of body dragon body, she would need to spend a lot of experience points. Based on her current efforts, she would need at least a year to consider exchanging for a body-refining dragon-type martial technique. Moreover, after exchanging for it, she would not have enough experience points to cultivate. Now, the chaotic dragon body that Kang Xinmu gave her was just right. By the way, do you want to participate in the mission to hunt void monsters with Liang Xiao? That guy's 9 heavenly dragon blood explosion is quite interesting. Kang Xinmu said with a smile. He was definitely in the same group as Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl. As for Ran Ran and Liang Xiao, they were only students of the Alcade Zone and were not suitable to be with Kang Xinmu. They could only form their own teams and go on other training missions to resist the attacks of the void monsters. Yes, Liang Xiao is not bad. Ran Ran thought about it and nodded. From the looks of it, she should already know about the invasion of the void monsters, so Kang Xinmu didn't say much. After you cultivate the primal chaos dragon body, let's set off together. I'm afraid I won't be able to cultivate it to a stronger state within a month. I'll just cultivate it to the human level. Human level was a beginner. For Ran Ran, successfully cultivating the chaotic dragon body to the human level would only take 2 or 3 days. As for wanting to cultivate it to the earth level, it was not that easy. It required a lot of cultivation resources, and also required Jiang Shenwu's assistance. Cultivating this kind of body-refining dragon martial skill, in the end, still required someone to continuously attack it, causing it to be in a state of constant injury. Only then would it be more efficient. Yes. Ran Ran felt the same way. Although she had only cultivated the primal chaos dragon body, it was already enough to increase her ability to withstand attacks by several times. Originally, she didn't cultivate the body-tempering dragon martial technique. If she directly cultivated it, the effect would be very good. If Kang Xinmu could kill her with one move, then after she successfully cultivated it, one move from Kang Xinmu would not be able to hurt her at all. After all, Kang Xinmu wasn't famous for his powerful attacks. If he attacked himself now, he wouldn't be able to leave any marks on his body. Of course, if it was the girl in white who attacked Ran Ran, even if she successfully cultivated the chaotic dragon body, she wouldn't be able to withstand a single attack from the girl in white. It's said that the weakest of the void demonic creatures in this trial is equivalent to a student from the Yuheng district. Even if Ran Ran cultivated the chaotic dragon body, it's not very safe. Kang Xinmu thought for a while and finally took out a heavenly sacred halberd. This dragon-grade dragon weapon had already fused with Kang Xinmu's blood essence, but he basically didn't use the heavenly sacred halberd anymore. To him, this power was somewhat useless and not suitable for him. Therefore, he took it out and handed it to Ran Ran. This thing's defense is not bad. You can try to master it. It should be of help to you. Dragon-grade dragon weapons were not too precious to the students of the 4 dragon martial academies. After all, as long as they worked hard for a month or two, they would be able to exchange their experience points for a dragon-grade dragon weapon. However, it was very rare for Kang Xinmu to give someone a dragon-grade dragon weapon out of thin air. Of course, this was nothing to Ran Ran. She knew that her relationship with Kang Xinmu was very good. As for how good it was, even she didn't know. There were many things that she couldn't remember clearly. She only knew that Kang Xinmu was very kind to her. Therefore, it was normal for her to accept something that Kang Xinmu gave her. Ran Ran accepted the heavenly sacred halberd. This time, within 3 days, she had to successfully cultivate the chaotic dragon body and familiarize herself with the heavenly sacred halberd. The task was quite heavy. However, with Kang Xinmu accompanying her, she felt that it was worth it no matter how tired she was. Even if she didn't sleep or rest for 3 days, she had to complete these 2 tasks perfectly. Ran Ran's Cultivation Palace. Kang Xinmu was dressed in black and stood in the corridor of the side courtyard. Beside him stood a man in red, Liang Xiao, who was at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm in the Alcade district. When Kang Xinmu first saw Liang Xiao, he was only at the 6th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. In such a short time, he actually advanced by 1 level. His talent was very high. No wonder he was the genius student that was recently recruited into Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. It was said that he was expected to advance to the Miang district soon. If there were more people in the various cultivation areas, he would probably be qualified to go to the Miang district to cultivate. However, this would definitely only be officially opened after this year's academy competition. As for the specific situation, no student knew. After all, the higher-ups probably hadn't made the final decision. Those who had the right to decide the energy of the Dragon Martial Academy's Dragon Mark were definitely existences of the Supreme Divine Dragon level. Even a dean like Yu Yaji couldn't make the decision. This was because the Supreme Divine Dragon didn't seem to be a top-notch expert in the upper world. Compared to the Supreme Divine Dragon, the Supreme Divine Dragon was still a level lower. It could be said that Yu Yaji, Xiaofan, and the rest were just subordinates of the Supreme Divine Dragon. They might not even be the kind of subordinates that were too important. Of course, this was all Kang Xinmu's guess. He could only know the truth when he became stronger. For 3 days, Kang Xinmu constantly attacked Ran Ran, making the process of Ran Ran's chaotic dragon body a little difficult and painful. However, the speed was extremely fast. In just 3 days, Ran Ran relied on the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery to recover quickly and finally completed the cultivation of the chaotic dragon body. Although she was only at the human realm, Kang Xinmu's attacks were no longer effective. After all, Kong Shinmu's own attack power wasn't strong. Chapter 43-86. To Liang Xiao, he wasn't interested in Ran Ran. If he was interested, he was only interested in Ran Ran's strength. As for her beauty and cuteness, they were nothing to Liang Xiao. On the contrary, Liang Xiao was rather interested in Kong Shinmu. After Ran Ran finished her cultivation, she was still familiarizing herself with the heavenly saint halberd while Kong Shinmu watched from the side. Liang Xiao was then let into the palace by Ran Ran. After that, this kid constantly surrounded Kong Shinmu and asked all sorts of questions. Not only was he interested in Kong Shinmu's strength and talent, but he was also very interested in Kong Shinmu's private affairs. Senior brother Jiang, you and Ran Ran came over from Donghuang Yangwu College together. Is there any special relationship between the two of you? Love between a man and a woman is human nature. But senior brother Jiang, you are still young. It is not the right time to think about such things. When you grow older, I, Liang Xiao, can teach you some things. No matter what, I, Liang Xiao, am also someone who came from a brothel. I am already very open about these things. This kid chattered non-stop at the side. Kong Shinmu was annoyed to death by him and slapped him out of the palace. Out of sight, out of mind. There really didn't seem to be any relationship between him and Ran Ran. In Kong Shinmu's eyes, this last Ran Ran only had a good impression of him and worshipped him. As for love, it couldn't be considered. After all, Ran Ran couldn't remember many things now. Her feelings were relatively simple. As for himself, he indeed didn't have the mood to talk about love. After all, he was still young and shouldn't be thinking about such things at such a young age. On this point, Liang Xiao was right. It was just that Kong Shinmu didn't need his reminder, so he simply slapped him away. Looking at this scene, Ran Ran simply wanted to laugh. In Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, other than Jiang Shenwu, Liang Xiao was the one who had a better relationship with Ran Ran. In the past, he often went out to train with her. Sometimes, it wasn't just the two of them who went out to train. There were also other people. Some male students were very interested in Ran Ran. However, if they made any inappropriate actions or even words towards Ran Ran, Liang Xiao would directly teach them a lesson. Among the students in the Alcade district, Liang Xiao could be considered the boss. Normally, wherever he went, he was awe-inspiring. Unfortunately, in front of Jiang Shenwu, this was just a little fellow, the kind that could be sent flying with a single slap. After 3 days, Ran Ran had successfully cultivated the Chaos Dragon body. She used her experience points to exchange for various kinds of natural treasures. These natural treasures were relatively common, so it was not too expensive to exchange for a set. At that time, Kong Shinmu still remembered that it was the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon who had found these materials for him. When he thought about it, he sighed. It had been so long, but he hadn't brought any benefits to the Heaven Awakening Demon Dragon. This Heaven Opening Devil Dragon was also involved in 2 wars with the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. It was quite a tragic end. In these 3 days, not only did Ran Ran successfully cultivate the Chaos Dragon body, but she also familiarized herself with the power of the Heavenly Sage Halberd. Her battle prowess could be said to have increased by a large margin. As for whether she wanted to cultivate the Chaotic Dragon body to the Earth level, that would depend on herself and when she could earn enough experience points. Exchanging for those heavenly treasures required experience points. If it was a Yuheng district student doing a mission, it would very likely only take a month, but if it was Ran Ran herself, it would very likely take 2 to 3 months. After all, compared to the students above her, her strength was indeed a bit lacking. That's why this training session against the Void Demons is very important. If she can obtain enough experience points, she can even directly cultivate the Chaos Dragon body to the dragon level. Then the strength of her physical body will be about the same as mine before. Kang Shinmu thought to himself. Just the dragon-level chaos dragon body alone could provide a physical body that was comparable to any of the other body-refining dragon martial techniques that Kang Shinmu had cultivated. Honestly speaking, these two body-refining dragon martial techniques, the magic crystal, the iron blood dragon body, these two body-refining dragon martial techniques, to be honest, did not seem to have much of an effect on Kang Shinmu. Therefore, Kang Shinmu did not have the intention to cultivate these two body-refining dragon martial techniques to a higher level. Right now, he only wanted the origin dragon martial technique. He felt that the other dragon martial techniques were too weak, at least not suitable for his current level. Perhaps they would still be quite useful in battles of the same level. But now, the opponents that Kang Shinmu was basically facing were all opponents that were much stronger than him. Therefore, these low-level dragon martial techniques were in fact not very useful. Finally, Ran was done with her preparations. Liang Xiao also found 3 other students from the Alcade district to form a 5-man team with Ran. This was the minimum requirement for students from the Alcade district to go to the Void Beasts for training. The instructors requested that students from the Alcade district had to form a team of at least 5 people before they could participate in the training against the Void Beasts. This time, Liang Xiao found his own instructor to lead the team. She was a powerful woman from the 6th level of the Dragon Emperor. This time, she came back to lead Liang Xiao's team, and at the same time, she brought Kang Shinmu along. From the expression of this Dragon Emperor instructor, Kang Shinmu could tell that the situation did not seem to be very good. Our Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy has a Dragon Emperor instructor who sacrificed himself. The instructor said inside, those void beasts are our mortal enemies. Remember, when you go to the battlefield, although they are all demon captives, they are all very fierce. Do not be careless. There has already been an accident at the Northern Desolate Dragon Martial Academy, and a student from the Alcade district has died. These words sounded an alarm bell for the following dragon martial arts students. It could be said that this training would really be life-threatening. A student from the Northern Desolate Dragon Martial Academy had actually died, and a Dragon Emperor instructor from the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy had sacrificed himself while fighting against the Void Beasts. It was conceivable that the other Dragon Emperor instructors from the other Dragon Martial Academies might have also died, but this instructor did not say anything. What kind of existence are the Void Beasts? With such a complicated feeling, Kang Shinmu followed this Dragon Emperor instructor through the Emperor Shi formation. Soon, when he opened his eyes again, what entered his eyes was a scene that looked like the void. It was dark all around, and in the distance, there were dots of starlight that flickered continuously. All of them seemed to have arrived at a starry sky outside the Dragon Martial Continent. Above the Dragon Martial Continent, at the peak of the cloud layer, there is a layer of barrier. After passing through this barrier, it is the starry sky. We dragon martial artists can soar in the starry sky. Now, the void beasts have appeared in the starry sky. If they pass through the barrier, the entire Dragon Martial Continent will face a disaster. The 4 great Dragon Martial Academies have the responsibility to stop all the void beasts outside. Chapter 4387. That direction in the starry sky was where the students were training. As for the mentor's battlefield, it was in the distant starry sky, in a crack in the void thousands of miles away from here. Kang Shinmu and the rest looked in the direction the mentor was pointing at and saw some obvious lights coming from there. It should be the students from the 4 Dragon Martial Academies gathering there for training. In the opposite direction, thousands of miles away in the starry sky, there was a pitch-black crack that stretched across the starry sky. Even light was mercilessly devoured and it passed through this pitch-black crack. A chill came from the direction of the pitch-black crack and spread over thousands of miles away, causing the students present to tremble. That crack in the void is our battlefield, Instructor Dragon Emperor said with a serious expression, all the students who have entered the Fecta zone are now fighting near the crack. If they are not careful, they will be torn to shreds by the void beasts, but they have no qualms about participating in the battle against the beasts. As for the rest of you, you must participate in the training first. Your strength is still not enough, and you will only die if you go on the battlefield. Therefore, pay attention when you go on the training. These monsters are powerful, but there are also similarities between them. This is something you need to discover on your own. Try your best to become stronger so that you can fight against the monsters head-on in the future. Although it is very dangerous to fight against the monsters head-on in the crack, as long as you can gain something, you will benefit much more than in the Beast Abyss. After all, the Beast Abyss is a relatively safe place, but near the crack, it is very likely that your mentor will be killed by the monsters. Therefore, you may not be able to get help at the critical moment. The training ground, you guys go on your own. After Mentor Dragon Emperor finished speaking, he disappeared from everyone's sight and headed straight for the big crack in the void in the starry sky. Mentor Dragon Emperor, they had a lot of work to do. They had come back to pick them up, but it was just along the way. Now, only Liang Xiao, Ran, and their team of 5 were left. Including Kong Shinmu, there were 6 of them in the void. For a moment, they were all at a loss. They were all students of the Dragon Martial Academy, and their training missions had been the same for the past few decades. They were all trivial matters in the Dragon Emperor Kingdom, such as hunting demonic beasts or betrayal of dragon martial artists. But all of a sudden, a spatial crack had appeared above the martial dragon continent, and the so-called demonic creatures had invaded the martial dragon continent. Many students from the Dragon Martial Academy were dumbfounded by this matter. On the other hand, the Dragon Emperor instructors of the Dragon Martial Academy seemed to have long been prepared for this. They were very passionate about fighting against external enemies. Let's go to the training grounds. In the end, Kong Shinmu shook his head. He took one last look at the crack in the void and knew that it was not a place he could participate in right now. The Dragon Emperor instructors, the Dean, and the powerful students were all fighting against the demonic creatures there, guarding the crack and not letting the demonic creatures in the crack break through the line of defense. All they had to do was deal with some of the demonic beast captives that their predecessors had captured for them to temper themselves. Perhaps this was just a reason to give the students experience points. At the same time, it allowed the students to familiarize themselves with the demonic creatures that came from the void. Kong Shinmu brought Ran, Liang Xiao, and the other 4 to fly through the void after transforming into dragons. They were getting closer and closer to the area in the void where the light was coming from. Very soon, they realized that it was a spherical space. The entire spherical space was surrounded by a protective barrier that was emitting a faint light. The barrier looked very gentle, but Kong Shinmu could keenly sense that there was an extremely turbulent power hidden within the barrier. This was a training ground for the students of the 4 great academies, so it naturally had to be well protected. Otherwise, if any demonic creatures broke through the barrier and all the students here died, the situation of the entire Dragon Martial Continent would become extremely bad. After all, the students of the Dragon Martial Academy were the most talented dragon martialists in the entire Dragon Martial Continent. When Kong Shinmu and the others arrived, a gap appeared on the protective barrier of the spherical space. It seemed that someone had sensed the arrival of the dragon martialists and opened a door for them. Kong Shinmu led the 5 of them into the spherical space and sensed that there were many powerful dragon martialists gathered in this space. There were many familiar auras, but there were even more unfamiliar auras. Most importantly, there was an extremely dark and cold aura that spread throughout the entire spherical space. This dark and cold aura came from the demonic creatures in the void. The demonic creatures that had been captured by the Academy's powerhouses were everywhere in this spherical space. They were all locked up in small sealed cages. If a student group or an individual wanted to challenge them, they could enter the cages and engage in fierce battles with the demonic creatures. Jiang Shenwu brought the 5 of them to this place, and the first thing that entered their eyes was a starry blue light barrier that imprisoned a devil within it. That devil's entire body was pitch black, and it seemed to be a crawling creature. Its body was over 300 meters long, and it could be considered to be a small devil. This demonic creature did not seem to have eyes, and there was only a large mouth on its head. However, it had 6 arms, or rather, 6 legs. It was a creature that crawled on the ground. Its body was completely black, and its scales looked extremely tough. It possessed extremely powerful defensive abilities, and most importantly, there was something that looked like black chains wrapped around its body. These chains wrapped around and slid around the demonic creature's body, looking like the demonic creature's weapons. This is a void demonic creature. Kang Xinmu's expression darkened. This void demonic creature does not look very strong, but it is extremely dangerous to you. The students of the Dragon Martial Academy basically all had inherited blood essence at the heavenly dragon level. Every dragon was 400 to 500 meters long. In comparison, this void demonic creature in front of them was only a bit over 300 meters long, appearing rather small. However, Kang Xinmu could sense that this demonic creature's cultivation was at least at the 7th level of the rebirth realm. The 7th level of the rebirth realm was equivalent to the blood essence of a divine dragon at the holy dragon level. Such an existence was definitely not something that the students of the Alcade Zone could deal with. Even if they formed a 5-man team, they would be easily torn to shreds by it. This is a high-rank demonic soldier. At this moment, a clear voice sounded from the side. Kang Xinmu turned to look and saw Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl walking towards them. As they looked at the demonic creature in front of them, they said, "Demonic soldiers, demonic generals, demonic commanders." Among the void demonic creatures, they have a strict hierarchy. Chapter 4388. After Xiao Yuhua's explanation, Kang Xinmu ran, and the rest finally understood the general situation of the Dragon Martial Academy students training with the void monsters here. The void monsters that had emerged from the void cracks this time were mainly divided into 3 levels. The lowest level was Demon Soldier. Of course, Demon Soldier was what the void monsters called them internally. To the Dragon Martial Academy students, they preferred to call them Demon Soldier as it was more pleasing to the ear. After all, Demon Soldier was a demon soldier. Those who did not know would think that it was a type of weapon similar to a dragon soldier. Strangely enough, the language of these void demons seemed to be able to be understood, and some Dragon Emperor teachers could even translate for them. This was something that many students found strange. As for what was going on, the low-level Dragon Martial Academy students naturally did not know. Including Xiao Yuhua and many other students, they basically only knew some basic things. For example, void monsters at the level of Demon Soldier were the most basic unit of the Void Monster Legion. They were considered the weakest among the void monsters. The level of Demon Soldier was equivalent to the inheritance blood essence of a holy dragon. However, even the weakest demon soldier was divided into several levels. First, there were low-level demon soldiers. They were equivalent to the 1st to 3rd levels of the rebirth realm. Some were slightly stronger, while others were slightly weaker. They were equivalent to cannon fodder in the Void Monster Legion. Even the weakest low-level demon soldier had the strength of the Yuheng District students. This was not wrong. On average, they were holy dragon experts at the 2nd level of the rebirth realm. This level was not something that the Alcade District and Kaiyang District students could deal with alone. One had to know that the first battle that Kang Xinmu, Xiao Yuhua, and the white-dressed girl encountered when they went to the Frost Dragon Emperor Court was against a wandering holy dragon. That wandering holy dragon's strength was about the same as a low-level demon soldier. Moreover, the students had limited understanding of void monsters. It could be said that low-level demon soldiers were more dangerous than dragon martial artists or demon beasts of the same level. Above low-level demon soldiers were middle-level demon soldiers. They were equivalent to holy dragon experts between the 4th and 6th levels of the rebirth realm. A demon soldier of this level was not something an ordinary Yuheng district student could deal with. For example, if Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl encountered a middle-level demon soldier alone, they would definitely die. Unless the two of them worked together with a meat shield like Kong Shinmu, a dragon warrior, there was no way they could contend against a middle-level demon soldier. Above the middle-ranked fiend soldiers were the even more powerful high-ranked fiend soldiers. They were equivalent to holy dragon experts at the 7th to 9th stage of the rebirth tribulation realm. Of course, demon soldiers of this level were not common. In fact, they were extremely rare. This was because demon soldiers were the weakest among the void fiends. It was normal for void fiends to be at the demon soldier level and be able to break through to the high stage of the rebirth tribulation realm. After all, the void demons seemed to be constantly at war. Unlike the dragon martial artists on the dragon martial continent, who had a peaceful enough environment for them to cultivate, both the sky dragon and the sacred dragon would produce experts at the peak of the samsara tribulation realm. Therefore, high-ranked demon soldiers were extremely rare. With Xiao Yuhua's explanation, Kong Shinmu knew that the high-ranked demon soldier imprisoned in the blue cage in front of them was the only high-ranked demon soldier in the entire training camp. And above the demon soldiers were demon spirits. Void demons of this level were larger in size and stronger in body. Furthermore, they had the ability to use demonic martial techniques. They could be considered as the captains of the void demon army. Void demons of the demon spirit level were less than 1/10 of the demon soldiers. However, their combat strength was equivalent to the Dragon King experts at the rebirth tribulation realm. Like demon soldiers, demon spirits were divided into 3 levels from weak to strong, low-ranked, middle-ranked, and high-ranked. Low-ranked demon spirits were at the 1st to 3rd stage of the rebirth tribulation realm. Correspondingly, middle-ranked and high-ranked are at the middle and advanced stages of the rebirth tribulation realm. Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl were the inheritors of the Dragon King's blood essence at the peak of the Nirvana tribulation realm. It was impossible for any of them to be a match for any of the lesser devil spirits. Low-ranked demon spirits had the strength of the Dragon King at the rebirth tribulation realm. Such experts were existences that only a team of students in the Migres zone could contend with. As for middle-ranked demon spirits and high-ranked demon spirits, they were extremely rare. They were definitely not existences that ordinary students could deal with. At the very least, students who had reached the level of the Dragon Emperor could defeat them alone when their cultivation was 3 or 4 stages lower than theirs. Of course, if they formed a team, the situation would be different. Different teams of students who were dragon warriors would have completely different effects. The difference in combat strength could be said to be like heaven and earth. Above demon spirits were demon generals. Demon generals were the inheritors of the blood essence at the level of the Dragon Emperor. Moreover, their cultivation was at least at the rebirth tribulation realm. Therefore, only students from the Dragon Martial Academy in the first 3 zones were qualified to challenge demon generals. Among them, there were even some powerful demon generals that only Mentor Dragon Emperor had the ability to kill. The number of demon generals was less than 1,000th of the void demons. They were a relatively rare existence. However, in this training camp, they had captured 2 low-ranked demon generals. As for middle-ranked and high-ranked demon generals, they could not be captured alive. Even Mentor Dragon Emperor could only kill them at most. He could not bring them back alive. If he wanted to forcefully bring them back, there was a high possibility that accidents would occur on the way. Because void demons of this level were already extremely powerful. They could even easily destroy the weaker Dragon Emperor countries in the Dragon Martial continent, such as the Flame Dragon Emperor dynasty and the Northern Chill Dragon country. These Dragon Emperor countries of the Dragon Emperor countries had almost no ability to resist in front of middle-ranked and high-ranked demon generals. Above the demon generals, there was the highest commander of the void demons, the demon marshals. The demon marshals were powerful existences equivalent to the super dragon god. Now, 2 demon marshals had emerged from the void crack. 2 deans were blocking them, while the other 2 deans were in charge of sealing the void crack. The entire void crack was basically sealed. After void demons passed through the void crack, they could not leave the area of the void crack. Once they broke through the sealed defense, they could easily find the way to the Dragon Martial Continent and pose a threat to the Dragon Martial Continent. Demon soldiers, demon spirits, demon generals, demon marshals, the 4 levels of void demons formed an army and invaded the sky above the Dragon Martial Continent through the void crack. Chapter 4389. Right now, Kang Xinmu could only try his best to kill some weaker void monsters to earn experience points and become stronger. If I want to reach Dragon Emperor faster, I'll have to head deeper into the Dragon Martial Academy's cultivation area. As long as I can get to the Heaven area, I'll be able to absorb the Dragon Mark's energy much faster. To be qualified to enter the Heaven area to cultivate, the most important thing is still strength. Right now, I'm fighting to improve my strength. Kang Xinmu was very clear about his current cultivation direction. After telling everyone about the matter, Xiao Yuhua pointed to some students from the Dragon Martial Academy not far away and said, "Most of the students here are here to train by fighting with void demonic creatures. Students from the Alcade Zone form a team of at least 5 and at most 7 people, and challenge low-level demon soldiers. As long as you can withstand one move from a low-level demon soldier, you'll pass and record the challenge result. Normally, a team of 5 in the Alcade Zone can't defeat a low-level demon soldier. Therefore, to the students of the Alcade Zone, their challenge result is based on how many moves they can withstand from a low-level demon soldier. Right now, the strongest team in the Alcade Zone can withstand 5 moves from a low-level demon soldier. However, after the team of 6 joined forces and withstood 5 moves, all of them were injured. Some of them were so injured that they could no longer fight. According to the highest challenge result a month later, students can obtain different amounts of experience points. It can be said that the reward for experience points this time is extremely generous. If you can withstand 5 moves from a low-ranked demon soldier, you can earn at least 3 years' worth of experience points from the Alcade Zone. Even if you can withstand 3 moves from a low-level demon soldier, it's equivalent to 1 year of experience points outside. Of course, if you can only withstand 1 move from a low-level demon soldier, you can only obtain experience points equivalent to 1 month of effort. It's a consolation reward. Xiao Yuhua mainly told this to Ran Ran, Liang Xiao, and the others. When the 5 of them heard this, they immediately understood. This rule was obviously to make the strong stronger, and the weak could only obtain consolation rewards. But the current situation seemed to be exactly as it should be. Only the strong were worthy of being rewarded with more experience points, as the strong now would be the stronger ones in the future. Only by nurturing them would the overall strength of the Dragon Martial Academy be increased. Ran Ran, if you can withstand 5 moves from a low-ranked demon soldier, the reward will be considerable. You can even consider exchanging for a medial grade origin Dragon Martial technique. Kang Xinmu narrowed his eyes. The reward this time was indeed very generous. It was so rich that he wanted to stay in the Alcade district and challenge the inferior demon soldiers. If he was still in the Alcade district, given his strength, he wouldn't be hurt no matter how a low-rank demon soldier attacked him. In other words, he could take as many blows as he wanted. However, Xiao Yuhua also said, of course, in order to prevent students from cheating, there is a limit to the reward for a single challenge. As long as a student in the Alcade district can withstand 7 moves from a low-rank demon soldier, they can obtain the highest reward. It's equivalent to 7 years of experience points for a student in the Alcade district. Of course, the students in the Alcade district are relatively weak, and their strength improves very quickly. If they really want to obtain these points through training missions outside, they should only need 2 or 3 years. The stronger ones can even get them in less than a year. Furthermore, the results of the Alcade district's 7 years of hard work can be obtained by the Jade district students in 2 years. Therefore, this time, the stronger ones staying in the Alcade district won't be able to obtain as much. The students in the Alcade district can also start the challenge as a low-rank demon soldier, but the condition is that they have to kill a low-rank demon soldier. Different low-rank demon soldiers have different strength. They are equivalent to the first to third level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. We need to challenge every low-rank demon soldier. If we can kill a third-level demon soldier, we have the right to challenge a middle-rank demon soldier. Similarly, we have to start from the 4th level to the 6th level. Of course, after successfully killing a third-level demon soldier, we can also choose to challenge a low-rank demon spirit. Of course, the difficulty is higher than that of a middle-rank demon soldier. We can decide what kind of opponent we want to challenge. The level of the void monster we kill in the end will determine the level of experience points we get. Kong Shinmu, if we can kill a low-rank demon spirit, we can get at least 3 years of experience points. Our 3 years is equivalent to about 10 years of experience points for the students in the Alcade district. And the upper limit of experience points we can get this time is about 7 to 8 years of experience points outside. In terms of amount, it's 4 times that of the students in the Alcade district. After hearing Xiao Yuhua's explanation, Kong Shinmu roughly understood the rules of the reward. In terms of amount, the upper limit of rewards for the students in the Yuheng district was twice that of the students in the Kaiyang district and 4 times that of the students in the Alcade district. Compared to the students above, it was much less. For example, the upper limit of rewards for the students in the Migres district was twice that of Kong Shinmu and the others. Of course, this upper limit was set there. It was hard to say if anyone could reach it. If the students in the Yuheng district want to get the upper limit of experience points, they have to kill at least a middle-rank demon spirit. However, it's not the 4th level, but the 6th level. Xiao Yuhua continued. Kong Shinmu narrowed his eyes. In other words, it's equivalent to the Dragon King at the 6th level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. An opponent of this level wasn't too difficult. Of course, this was only for him. For the ordinary students in the Yuheng district, they probably wouldn't even be able to take 3 moves from an opponent of this level. As for Kong Shinmu, it wouldn't be a big problem for him to block the Dragon King at the 6th level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. However, the problem was that he didn't understand the void monsters at all, and his attack power was lacking. Even if the white-dressed girl and Xiao Yuhua could make up for this, it was hard to say if their attacks would be effective against the middle-rank demon spirit. Only after the challenge began would he have a better understanding. Such a huge reward of experience points. This feels great. As long as I can reach the upper limit, I'll be able to exchange for a high-grade origin source dragon martial technique when I return. Perhaps I'll still be lacking a bit of experience points, but it won't be too much. If I obtain the high-grade origin source dragon martial technique, my strength will increase further. I wonder if the devouring power can devour the power of the void monsters and use it against them? Kong Shinmu wasn't very sure about this. After all, the void monsters were a species he didn't understand at all. As for the mentors of the academy, perhaps they had some understanding of the void monsters, but they didn't understand Kong Shinmu's devouring power at all. Chapter 4390. The voice belonged to Kong Shinmu's friend from Donghuang Yangwu College, Qin Fengyu. Qin Fengyu and Lu Hua were the first 2 friends he made after joining Donghuang Yangwu College. They were both students under Chu Yueqiang. Their cultivation and talents were not particularly high, but they were decent people. Senior Sister Qin. Kang Xinmu glanced at Qin Fengyu and greeted her with a smile. There were a few other students from Donghuang Yangu College with Qin Fengyu. Lu Hua was naturally among them. Apart from them, there were also Bao Peng, Qin Shouji, and Chu Yi. Brother Jiang, how have you been? Chu Yi ran up and punched Kang Xinmu with a chuckle. I've been fine. Kang Xinmu could not help but feel gratified when he saw that they still treated him the same. It seemed that Zhou Xiaofeng's prestige among Donghuang Yangu College's students was not that great. Of course, that was only for Kang Xinmu's close friends. If it was someone else from Donghuang Yangu College, they might not have such an attitude. Let's not talk about it anymore. Donghuang Yangu College is not friendly to Kang Xinmu now. Qin Shouji lowered his voice and said, just a little communication is enough. It might be inconvenient if we stay together all the time. This guy had always been against Kang Xinmu. He was not a bad person, but he was a little mean with his words. He could see it clearly under such circumstances and reminded his teammates. That's true. Qin Fengyu nodded dejectedly. She really wanted to communicate with Kang Xinmu. After all, in her eyes, Kang Xinmu's talents were top-notch. He might very well be on the same level as Yu Tianchong in the future and be at the peak of the Dragon Martial Academy. Therefore, if she could communicate more with Kang Xinmu, even if it was just a little bit of cultivation experience, it would be of great help to her. Unfortunately, Kang Xinmu had become a traitor of Donghuang Yangu College. If she got too close to Kang Xinmu, it was very likely that something would happen to her in Donghuang Yangu College. Therefore, he could only greet Kang Xinmu casually. I didn't expect that we would have such a chance to meet. When Chu Yi heard Qin Shouji's words, he immediately became cautious. He looked around and patted Kang Xinmu's shoulder. However, our level is still too low, we can't help Brother Jiang much. If Brother Jiang wants to know anything about Donghuang Yangu College, feel free to tell me. Chu Yi and Kang Xinmu could be considered to be very sincere. Only he and Kang Xinmu knew what they were going to say next. Chu Yi actually said that he wanted to communicate with Kang Xinmu once a month, and the place of the communication would be in the Boundary Forest. The two of them agreed on a time to meet in the Boundary Forest. It wouldn't take long. This way, Chu Yi could bring some information about Donghuang Yangu College to Kang Xinmu, and Chu Yi didn't need much. He just wanted Kang Xinmu to bring him some cultivation resources every time they met. This deal was quite beneficial to both parties. It was fortunate that Chu Yi was able to think of it. The cultivation resources that he asked Kang Xinmu to bring were nothing to Kang Xinmu. He could easily exchange for dozens of them. However, to Chu Yi, his strength was not as good as Kang Xinmu's. If he wanted to break through to a higher level in the Alcade district, he would definitely need more resources and more effort. Obviously, Chu Yi wanted to get in touch with Kang Xinmu so that his cultivation realm could improve faster. Alright, I promise you. From now on, we will meet on this day every month. Kang Xinmu nodded. After the two of them finished whispering to each other, the other side also finished talking. It was mainly Qin Fengyu who chatted with Ran Ran, asking about the situation at Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. In reality, Ran Ran spent most of her time training outside Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. She really didn't know much about Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. It was mainly Ran Ran, Liang Xiao, and the others who asked about the situation of challenging the void monsters here. Qin Fengyu and the others happened to be a team of 5. They had been at this training ground for 2 days. In these 2 days, they tried to challenge a low-level demonic soldier. In the end, they could only withstand 2 moves from it after joining forces. If they could withstand 2 moves, they would be rewarded quite a lot. It was almost equivalent to the experience points they would get from working outside for half a year. However, compared to the other Dragon Martial Academy students, this amount of experience points was really too little. Of course, there were many teams made up of students from the Alcade district who could not even take a single blow. Those were the salted fish of the Dragon Martial Academy. They were basically idlers in the Dragon Martial Academy, and it was impossible for them to become a super divine dragon in their lifetime. Even the Dragon Emperor could only barely reach that level when they had joined the Dragon Martial Academy for close to 100 years. It turned out that there were many students like that in the Dragon Martial Academy. However, it seemed that such students were very likely to be eliminated early. It would be a waste of resources to let them stay in the Dragon Martial Academy. It was better to let them get lost and give the Dragon Mark energy to the Dragon Martial artists who had more hope of becoming powerful. Some of the Dragon Martial artists might not be very talented and were not qualified to join the Dragon Martial Academy. However, recently, there were rumors that they would recruit a batch of more hardworking young Dragon Martial artists and let them become preparatory students of the Dragon Martial Academy. At the same time, the various Dragon Martial Academies would open up a place outside the Alcade district where the Dragon Mark energy was thinner for these hardworking young Dragon Martial artists to cultivate. In that case, perhaps they could nurture more powerful martial artists to serve the Dragon Martial Academy. Of course, this was all uncertain. Right now, Kang Xinmu did not know the exact situation. In any case, it had nothing to do with him. He thought of the charming inn in the Donghuang Dragon Martial City, where Yu Tiangsheng was taking care of the Fire Phoenix Princess. If the Dragon Martial Academy really wanted to recruit more Dragon Martial artists, the Fire Phoenix Princess might have a chance. However, was it really a good idea to join the Donghuang Yangwu College? I believe Yu Tiangsheng will think about it. Kang Xinmu shook his head and did not think too much about it. He had to focus on the challenge against the Void Demons and fight for more experience points as a reward. After a brief discussion, Chu Yi left with his 4 teammates. They did not dare to stay with Kang Xinmu for too long. After Chu Yi and Qin Fengyu left, Xiao Yuhua suggested that Ran Ran and the others try first to see how many moves they could take from the inferior demon soldier and what level they were at. Nobody objected to this. They looked around and saw that there were many students from the Dragon and Martial Academy present. Some of them were familiar faces from Emperor Shi's Dragon and Martial Academy, but there were also some faces that they were completely unfamiliar with. They were all students from the other 3 Dragon and Martial Academies. As for Kang Xinmu, even if he saw some of the students from the Donghuang Yangwu College, he would not find them familiar. This was because he had not been in the Donghuang Yangwu College for long, so many people had not seen him before.